Well, well, well. I didn't think that Doctor Who's Comic-Con was going to be controversial, but it is. Yes, they had a panel. I've just listened to it, actually. It's in the first three minutes, and they absolutely destroy the Timeless Children. Yeah, I don't think anybody at the BBC, Chris Chibnall, I don't think they're going to be very happy. Funny thing is the comments are obviously disabled. Typical. Won't let fans to actually have their say. But I will say the other side, as usual, what do you expect from the other side anyway? They have decided to come out and try defend us. Now, some have said, we're not defending it. But if you start a sentence off with, well, Terry Nation created the Daleks, so he must be a Nazi sympathizer, or you talk about RTD and you make those comparisons and you start making all these excuses, well, then you are, in fact, defending the Timeless Children. You are defending the fact that a child was murdered on screen. It is child abuse. Listen to this. I will play the audio. Listen to this. This is so funny.
Gallifrey to the gas lamp district. It's a debate which has raged through space and time. Who's the best Doctor Who? It's a question we're going to answer in this panel presented by San Diego Who.com. I'm your moderator, CNN contributor Sandro Manetti, and with me to discuss and debate the great Time Lord.
This is absolutely funny.
Expert and opinionated Whovians. Let's meet them now.
River Alexandra Song,
Julie O'Malley,
Christy Schumann,
Karen Glover,
John Dyer the Fifth.
Now, you'd think that...
Oh, he's the fifth. He's the fifth. He's not the second or the third. He's the fifth.
But as the most recently aired episode, season finale, The Timeless Children, showed us, turns out there are a whole bunch more Doctors.
Now, come here. I have to be honest. The hostess face is absolutely priceless if you haven't seen the clip.
What did the panel think about the way the whole history of the Doctor was rewritten in this big change of mythology? River, why did you lead us off?
I did not like this because it turned the Gallifreyans into kidnappers and child abusers, and I don't think that's what Doctor Who is about.
You don't think Doctor Who's the place for child abuse? Yes, possibly so. Good point. What did you reckon, Bill?
Well, while I did like the idea of an older black female doctor among these new ones, I thought the whole contrivance was plot desperation and just, of course, messing with Ken.
Remember, this is a San Diego Comic-Con panel.
I feel exactly that it was plot desperation, that they had written themselves into a corner and they didn't know where to go, and so they just came up with this outlandish story. I think the fallout that they're not expecting is the child abuse part, though. I don't think he thought of that.
Wow. Karen?
I did not like it at all.
Wow.
Basically, we waited 50 years, or a little over 50 years, to find out who the Doctor is, and then all they came up with was a lost child, and that was taken to Gallifrey. It was experimented on, and to create Time Lords. Where's their backstories? Where else did this child come from? Now there's like hundreds of doctors.
Yep.
well, I told you they were an opinionated panel. Christy, are you going to be the lone voice who loved the Timeless Child?
No, I just watched the episode so bad. It put so many holes into the Who-verse canon
from William Hartnell being the one where the chameleon circuit gets stuck in the blue box form to the birth of the Time Lords, and it would have made more sense actually if it was the Master that was the Timeless Child than the Doctor. But hey, let's start it off with child abuse.
Wow. Okay, so I think our panel was unanimous on that point. But will they agree on the question before us today? Who's the best Doctor Who?
Right, so he swiftly moves on, but that first 3 minutes and 30 odd seconds is quite damning for Chris Chibnall's era. Now, if anybody remembers the night of the Timeless Children, when we watched it here and then we did the panel, I actually said it that night. The night it aired, I said this is child abuse, plain and simple. The child was murdered multiple times and experimented on for personal gain. Now, no matter what these J-bots say about RTD or different writers of different eras, right? There's one thing about the Time Lords or Gallifreyans, as River Song, whatever her name is. She's actually in the space costume. I have to say, she put real effort in. One of the girls is dressed like Colin Baker. She looks great. One of the other ladies has a fez. So there's a couple of them that have made an effort. Now I see people, and I've seen people on Twitter as well saying and slagging these people off because they're not really experts. That's fine, fair enough. But they do illustrate the problems that we have been talking about in this side of the fandom for a very, very long time. Now, it's typical that the other side are going to come out in droves, which they have today, to try and defend this, and then they'll throw out, you know, Terry Nation and the Daleks and other examples like that. If you have to throw out examples like that, then you are in fact defending the Timeless Children story arc. You're defending the fact that Chris Chibnall showed child abuse on screen. It's as simple as that. I've been saying it since that episode. I am so glad that this happened, that it's finally out there now and everybody can actually talk about it, because I've been talking about it on this channel for a very, very long time. I've been telling everybody that that is child abuse and that is not Doctor Who, right? And she's right. You know, he turned the Gallifreyans into a bunch of kidnapping, murdering scum, right? Now, do we know whether the Time Lords are good or evil? We've seen that in Russell T's era, that the Time Lords did turn a bit crazy. But to actually say that they go and actually no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I don't care how they try justify this. They try say, well, that's the reason why the Doctor left Gallifrey, can't stand being there, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but that's not, if you're going to do it, it's disrespectful. Some of the panel said it as well. I mean, it's Rabbi has done a video on it as well. By the way, it was Rabbi that actually told me to have a look at that clip before I actually did this stream. So I want to thank Rabbi. But I've been saying this since Christmas, since the episode aired, that this is child abuse. And there are people out there defending it. You know, if you start off a sentence with, well, Terry Nation, because he did this, does that mean he's this? You're defending it. I'm sorry, but you're defending it, and you shouldn't be defending it. It's absolutely disgusting. I wish fans would come out now and actually call him up, pull him up for this. Because look at it means then when it comes to the next series, he'll do things properly. You fans out there, the other side, need to hold Chris Chibnall accountable, right? Because you're the fans that he's listening to right now, right? But if you listen to that panel and you listen to our side of the fandom that have been talking about this for a very, very long, long time, well then, you know, Series 13, he would go in a different direction. This is not what Doctor Who is about. This is not what I want the Time Lords to be founded on. Basically, what happened was that woman was selfish and she basically murdered that child for personal gain. If that sits well with you, then fine. To me, it would suggest then you're not a fan, because no fan in their right mind would support this. I am so glad that panel actually said what they said. That is an eye-opener for the rest of the fandom, especially because we've been saying it on this side, so it's nothing new to us. But for the other side of the fandom, it is quite funny to see them all out, as usual, trying to defend this rubbish. Right? If you're going to defend child abuse, well, then I would just say, I hope none of you have any kids, because I would feel sorry for those kids if you think that's acceptable. If you think it's acceptable that you find a child on a different planet, you bring that child back to your planet, right? And then that child has an accident and dies, and you see something happen in front of your eyes. And instead of, like, you know, being the caring parent that you have been for those years, you decide then to experiment and murder that child because you get obsessed with this regeneration thing, this thing that you're seeing. So you're so obsessed that you'll do anything to get that power because of personal gain. And it's absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting. Absolutely, utterly disgusting. And that's Chris Chibnall. And let's not forget the cancer scene, the socially awkward scene as well, right? This is Chris Chibnall. This is the kind of showrunner that we have, right? Now, I've been speaking to a lot of people at the time when that episode dropped, and there was a lot of people that were very, very, very upset over what happened. The BBC even faced a backlash. And what did they do? Instead of coming out and apologising like anybody else would do, they tried to justify it. Then the fans of this era then tried to justify it as well. It was totally disgusting. Now, I've had family members that have died from cancer, and I've had family members that have survived cancer. It was highly disrespectful. And I've spoken to other people that have survived cancer and people whose family members have passed. And I can tell you from them also, they found it highly insensitive and disrespectful. Right? So this is the kind of type of showrunner. Also in Resolution, I'm just bringing it up anyway, right? Resolution, he brings on a gay character, kills the gay character off in 20 seconds, and that's called diversity. That's called representation, right? This man, Chris Chibnall, is not capable of moving this show forward. He is done as a showrunner. And for all those people out there that are saying that Doctor Who isn't dead, 7 million households will tell you differently, right? The ratings for the last episode was an absolute disgrace, right? It's the lowest since the late 80s, okay? You cannot, and don't be giving me this TV habits thing have changed, right? The ratings take those into account now. Okay, they do an overnight, they do the 28-day consolidated figures, they do the AI. Okay, everything is taken into account and the ratings are down. All right, so you can try justify this all you want. The show is in trouble. We've been telling you this since Series 11. You wouldn't listen to us, and now it's in a dire situation. And I'm glad that panel, I'm glad that they came out and actually tore this apart. It's about bloody time. About time. It's absolutely rubbish. And I've been saying it. It's child abuse, child abuse, child abuse, and it's disgusting. Right? Disgusting. And the people that support it, you're disgusting too. I'm sorry, but you are. I wouldn't let any of you have any kids if this is what you think is okay as a story arc. Right? It does not sit comfortable with me whatsoever. It didn't sit comfortable with that panel on that Comic-Con. And you know what? I'm glad they came out and said it. And the hostess face said it all. He wasn't expecting that. He was expecting them all to come out and basically do what the other fans have been doing in the fandom and kiss Chris Chibnall's ass. But instead, these people had the courage to come out. And yes, they are being slagged for but not being experts. Fair enough. But you can clearly see that they're fans of the show and they actually understand the show a little bit better than the people that are actually supporting this era. All right. So, you know, less of the, you know, because there are some people out there, less slagging them. You know what I mean? So at least they came out and they said something that's on all their minds for the last few months, and they had the courage to do it on that panel. And fair play to them, and they should be congratulated for that. Absolutely fantastic. Do you know what? Actually, there's a couple of people in me live chat that are very good at editing videos. If you could do me a favor, get the first 3.5 minutes of that whole thing, will you, for me? So I can actually whack it up everywhere. I might cut it in two and put it in 2 parts and throw it up on Twitter for everybody to see, right? Because this Twitter crowd keep defending it, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely. Do you know what? It's pathetic now at this stage. The lengths they will go to defend this. Listen, I put up a couple of tweets that someone put up, and then that person accused me of picking on them. And all I said was the people were defending, and I didn't even mention anybody by name. But this is the type of crap that we're getting, right? Because all it is, listen, as I said, you start off the sentence with, well, is RTD or Terry Nation this? Well, then you're trying to justify the Timeless Children's story arc, and I've no time for you, right? And I said that already. Anybody that supports this is scum. Simple as that. And I don't care. Take your little clips of your video. There you go again. I'll say it again. Anybody that supports this Timeless Children's story arc is scum. You're supporting child abuse, and you're supporting the multiple murder of a child. And remember, it wasn't any ordinary child either. It was a refugee, a child from a different world. Yeah, a defenseless, abandoned child. She took that child home to Gallifrey. That child had an accident, and then instead of caring and looking after that child, she decided to murder and experiment on that child. Absolutely disgraceful. And then again, this would have been the perfect opportunity for Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker to do something, but they prove how cold they are. They've done absolutely nothing. They've been distant since she was cast. When she was cast, there was so much of a song and dance. She was appearing everywhere, right? And now she's hiding. And now he's hiding. And yes, the both of them are hiding, because there will be fans out there that won't be able to keep it in and will say something. And that's why they don't turn up. That's why the comments are disabled for most of these videos as well. Because for the simple fact is, they don't want fans to actually have their say. Because the BBC then will be made. The BBC already know this is bad, right? But they're trying to pretend that it's business as usual. And listen, we'll ignore it. Right, and it'll go away, like they did when they cast Jodie. They said, you know, ignore it, it'll go away. It didn't go away, and this is not going away either. Absolutely disgraceful. Seriously, this is an absolute joke. I've been saying, listen, I'm so glad that happened. I've been dying to talk more about this because, you know, the reason why I stopped, because nobody else would talk about it. I even said the bigger channels need to highlight this, you know, need to bring it into the public eye. We need to keep talking about stuff like this all the time. These are the type of things that we must be highlighting. Forget about Jodie Whittaker. As I said, we already know how bad she is. We already know that she's not a great actress. You know, we know that she's not the right choice. We should be concentrating on what Chris Chibnall is doing, because I'm being honest with you, what he has done, if we analyse his two series of Doctor Who, there's a lot for us to pick apart. A lot for us to pick apart. And we will pick it apart. We will. We'll be doing multiple streams over the next few weeks. And then we have that big, huge one coming up. Right? We are going to put the spotlight firmly on all of this crap. Once and for all. I'm sick of it. I'm telling you. Unbelievable. But the fact that people are trying to justify this sickens me. That's what sickens me, is people are trying to justify it. And that's what's sick. Like, how can you justify something like that? In fairness. Seriously. You know what I mean? Yeah, he is getting a pass on this. We should be actually concentrating. Look, I've been saying, I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this. I'm getting blue in the face saying it. What have I been saying for months on this channel? I said that's the guy we need to be focusing on. We need to be focusing on Chris Chibnall and his writing team, right? Most of his writing team hardly have any experience, right? That's not always a bad thing. That can be a good thing, right? But in this case, that's not the situation. It's bad, right? But Chris Chibnall's writing, his ability to write Doctor Who. Listen, Broadchurch Series 1 is probably some of his best work. As I said, the only thing that I really truly like of his was the movie that he did about Manchester United, but all the source material was there. So even a monkey could direct and wouldn't be able to get that wrong. Do you know what I mean? So then you look at his work in Doctor Who. It's not great. Not great. Yeah, Piers Wenger should be focused on as well. I do agree. But Chris Chibnall is the one that's under attack right now. And you know, it's his story arc that people are focusing on. Listen, you expose Chris Chibnall, you expose Wenger because he's the man, as people have said, greenlit it all. Right? So, I mean, look, that's how you expose Piers Wenger, by exposing the guy that he hired. It's as simple as that. And we have to do it. You know, listen, it actually does shock me that fans are actually trying to justify this. I really can't get my head around it. There is no justifying this. Tell me, actually, everybody in the live chat, I'm going to whack yous our comments up, right? Here, a simple question for yous all, right? And I want everybody in the live chat to answer, right? Because I want to see, when people watch this stream, I want them to see your comments, right? So here's the question. Are you fans okay with the Timeless Children story arc, the origins of the Time Lords? Are you okay with that? Yes or no? So say, yes, I am a fan of the Time Lords origin story, or no, I'm not a fan of the Time Lords origin story. Get your comments up. I'm going to whack them up now in the live on the screen there. Exactly. Again, that's another thing that I have said. Why take a job that you didn't want in the first place? Exactly. See, what pisses me off is that I've been talking about this since what? Last year, the year before. And nobody's really taken any notice of me. I've been called toxic and all this sort of rubbish. And now Comic-Con panel comes out and says it, and all of a sudden all the fandom is all, one side's up in arms and the other side is celebrating. Like, I mean, I've been saying, I mean, why doesn't anybody listen to me? I'm serious. Why doesn't anybody listen to me when I tell you all these things? No wonder me Timeless Children panel has over 4,000 views. It's because, you know, people could see. I mean, listen, that panel went on for hours. We spoke about everything. I said it at the time. Right. No, I'm not okay with the origin story. Yeah. So if you could write it up that way instead of just writing no, that would be fine. So let's start off with Super John. Oh yeah, I owe Super John an apology. Actually, a couple of us actually do. We were supposed to do a Ghostbusters stream with him, but I'd gotten an invite to Rabbi's channel that I'd forgotten about, and I totally forgot about that other stream. So the next one that you get set up, if you want me to, just let me know a couple of days beforehand, and I'll be there. Promise you. It's past disgusting. It is. It actually is. And that's what annoys me. Look, there's 46 people watching me on a Wednesday night, right? I can guarantee you that some of these are Jodie Whittaker fans listening to what I have to say, right? Because they want to hear, because they're going to be taking their little clips now and throwing it all up all over Twitter. Well, go ahead. I don't care anymore, to be quite honest with you. I've been saying this for since the episode dropped. And finally, there's other people out there that feel exactly the same way as me. And they actually said it on a live Comic-Con panel, which was even more embarrassing for the BBC and for Chris Chibnall. Absolutely embarrassing. And I'm laughing here. Do you know what? Do you know what? We've had a good week and a half on this side of the fandom. A lot of things have started to finally come out. Also, you know, we've had our own little personal victories, if you want to call it that. You had them trying to rig a poll of mine. They ended up losing because the real fandom are not. And listen, even the BBC, here's the funny thing. These fans don't understand and don't realise. Even the BBC refer to William Hartnell still as the First Doctor. And they always will. So it doesn't matter because they don't support the Timeless Children. They don't support it. Nobody in their right minds would support this rubbish. Back them. One of the panel said it. And I said it as well. He went somewhere with this story arc and he just didn't know what to do. I even said at the time, Captain Jack's cameo, you could see that was filmed after the fact. It was filmed after the fact. I have 51 people watching me now. 51 people on a Wednesday night. This is all the other side coming in to listen to what I have to say tonight. Well, welcome. Do me a favor, guys. Yeah, you're probably going to downvote the video, but if I were you, I'd upvote the video and actually share it to your fellow J-bots, because you know you need to understand that the fandom ain't happy with this whole story arc. They're not happy with the way the show has been run, and they're not happy with the direction of the show. It's as simple as that, and you can deny it all you want. 7 million households have walked away, and you will have to start asking the question, why? Why? Come on, you answer that question, then you'll know. And it's nothing about being sexist, racist, bigots, or anything like that, right? Think logically for a change, or that might hurt your brains, but think logically. Yeah. So you can't just come in, right? Whether you like it or not, right? Here's the bottom line. You can't just come in and upset 50 years of history, 50 odd years of history, because a new showrunner decides that that's what he's going to do, right? There are certain rules, right? Moffat bent them a little bit, but never went across. He bent them, but never crossed that line fully, right? RTD, same thing, right? Showrunners of the past, right? He comes in, waltzes in like Thanos, thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants, and decides that he's not happy with the origins or the lack of story or whatever, and decides that he's going to do it. He's the man to do it. Yeah. If he's the man to do it, then I'm the man to be the Pope. I wonder how that'd work out. Right, hold on. Jesus, you really have went mad on the old comments, haven't you? So we've got justice for Hartnell, of course. I'm just going to throw up these are comments. But it seems to me that everybody, unless you are all trolls, because according to the other side, yous would be all trolls. Oh, and by the way, there's a couple of. Oh my God! Apparently, I'm a sexist pig, and only men hate Doctor Who. But there's a few women in me chat. Wow. They must be sexist too. They must be sexist too. See that whole argument has now fell apart completely. You can't use that anymore. Because everybody sees through his own bullshit now. And the thing about it is, there's a lot more women coming forward, but the women that have come forward and do say something, have been bullied off the platform. I still see Ginger Snap is still going around with his propaganda, trying to make himself out to be all this, how they are the nice side of the fandom, when that effing Egypt actually bullied a woman that we all know offline and is proud of the fact, tried to turn it on that person, tried to say it was their fault. Not happy with the Timeless Child, not happy. There's a couple of not happies there. The Timeless Child is horribly offensive. Problem being with a comment there. Charlotte is not happy with the retcon. Carl is not happy either. Should be kept a mystery. I agree with that one. It should always be a mystery. It's like, all these new fans seem to want to know everything about everything. The best thing about a show like Doctor Who is that there's mystery. Now, they will argue that, well, the Doctor is a refugee, so we still don't know where the Doctor comes from. But again, as we said, the Doctor, as stated by William Hartnell, came from Gallifrey, was born on Gallifrey. I'm sorry, but I'm not buying this whole time. I'm sorry. Chris Chibnall can try change canon. It's rejected by the fans. The only fans that support this is obviously the ones that don't like me and the rest of us. That's it. And they probably don't like it secretly themselves, but they just say that they like it because they think somehow it annoys us. There's a great comment there. Because it's a new person in the chat that I've never seen, I will read it. Poor Thing says, the entire thing is a dagger through the heart of the show's traditions. The Chibnall era is purely about getting a legacy through ripping down the pillars that held the ceiling up. I agree. 100%. 100%. Well, a lot of yous, as I said, yous are all in agreement. How would you like me to bring on some guests? We're going to bring on some guests. Will we bring on some guests? We'll see what they have to say about the panel, will we? It could be quite funny. Right. We'll get on some guests, will we? Right, we've got a few people in the chat. So let me see who's in the chat. Because there's a few in the panel. There's a few in the chat that hasn't been on in a while. And I'd like to get them on because they haven't been on in a while. So some is well, get ready to check our messenger because some of you will get a message. Hold on, that's one. One. Two. Right, let me see. 56 people watching. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do a few shout outs while I'm waiting on a couple of replies there. And then we can work away. Right, who have we got in the chat? And I want to thank everybody who is watching right now. If you could do us a favor, for all you that actually do like to hear what I have to say, please give the video a like, a thumbs up. For all you people that hate me guts, of course, it is your right to give the video a dislike. But while you're at it as well, do me a favor and share it. Actually, you are adding to my revenue as well, so thank you very much for that too. Oh, I see someone has actually had a little bit of a go at me on Twitter. It's nice when you rattle some of these idiots, isn't it? Tell you what I'm going to do, right? Because I don't seem to be getting any replies. Nobody's checking their yoke. So I'm going to try do what I always can't do. If you are quick enough. Oh, for feck's sake. Right, so it's that, and then it's that and that, isn't it? Ah, Jesus. Why isn't it working? Right, so, and then you go bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Jesus, I can't even see that. That's how stupid I am. These people say that I fake this, that, and the other, and I can't even fucking copy and paste the bloody link. Jesus. How do I not know? How do I still not know how to copy and paste the link? I don't know, but come here. Can you do me a favor? Yeah, no problem. I don't know where that one came from. He must have pulled that out of thin air because I took the other ones. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Do me a favor. I want you to copy that link into the chat for me, please. Okay, the link. Oh, yeah. Okay, the wife is gonna.
Honestly, how do you not know how
I
to do
still
that?
can't do it. I don't know, my fault. I'm
It's
stupid.
like actually embarrassing.
Well, it's not my fault. By the way, do you know so many people are watching me?
No.
Did you do it?
Yes.
Thank you. Don't be barking, man. Right. Go ahead. The link is in the chat. I'll take the first few. We'll see how it goes. Right. So whoever wants to join, get in here and we'll talk about this. There, right. We've already got our first guest. Let's see. Thank you, Cheryl. Yes.
What?
I said thank you.
You're welcome.
Of course. I knew one person would definitely be here. There's another one. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be good, folks. So we'll have a little panel here. I'll just wait until some of them actually appear because some of them seem to be having a bit of a problem right now. So we'll just give them a second. But yeah, as I said, we'll just do a few shout outs. So Lee Anthony Davis. We've got that's fantastic. Right, so we've got a new person joining the panel. So, right, we might as well just actually get straight into it, will we? Hold on, we've got the doctor, the TH doctor, 623, disaster area, Lee Anthony Davis. We've got John Michael Fink, Mr. Hyde. We've got Rossi G12. Nerdaholics, Glenn is here as well. Andy. Colin is here. Marty Poor Things is here. Disaster Area. Austin Martin Bond 007. I love the Austin Martin, by the way. Charlotte is here. We've also got, I think Daniel is here as well. I'll just give his name. A Blue Bonnet is here, but she's in work. Sorry you can't be here, but I did send her an invite. She told me she's in work, and that does happen. But we'll get you on soon. Super John is here. Carl is here. The Wolf in the Storm, which is fantastic. We seem to have a lot of guests. Andy, Jack, this is brilliant actually. Nerdaholics, as I said. If I have missed anybody, Darun 01, if I've said that properly. Lee Anthony Davis, I think I said your name, but we'll say it again just in case. And if I haven't missed anybody, sorry about that. I nearly lost control of my whole stuffy de woofy. Roy, I will mod tonight, says Daniel. Oh my God. Thank you, my friend. Do us a favor. When the panel shows rears its ugly face, like myself, put their channels up. I'm only joking. These aren't ugly. These are all beautiful looking people like me. Right. Let's bring on our guests. We've got a ton of guests. I can't believe. I don't think I've had a panel this big before. So this is good news. And we've got a thanks, Noel. You're more than welcome. Right. Let's go. He's a human. He's got a problem. His name is Problem Being.
Speak for yourself. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Back into the world of Twitter.
Nice one. We'll get to you now in a minute, right? We just want to get the rest of me guests on. So, my second guest we have on tonight is Marty. Silence.
Marty.
We will come back to Marty. He's probably having some technical difficulties, but we will come back to Marty. Right, let's go on to our next guest. It's the English Longbowman.
Hi guys.
Hello.
I was just doing sillies, and hold on a second. You'd have thought I'd have known how to get that up by now.
Said the actress to the bishop.
Exactly. Listen, Noel, you were saying earlier on, people saying, if people's argument is that Terry Nation must have been a supporter of you-know-who because he created a diet based on them. There's an answer to that one. Bounce it back on them. So that means that the BBC and the writer must support child abuse, experimentation and murder.
Yeah.
Well,
I tell you what, let's get on the rest of our guests so we can actually discuss that, yeah?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a debate for about an hour about this anyway, right? So let's bring on our next couple of guests. So we've got loads. So I want to make sure now we have enough room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're just there. Okay, let's bring on our next guest. And our next guest is Poor Things.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Hello.
I'm very well. How are you guys?
Good.
Not too bad.
It's really nice to speak to you all after however long it's been. I've never spoken to any of you personally, other than on Twitter or over the streams and whatever. But it's really nice to have fellow Whovians who understand the vandalism that's going on in the show, and it's good to chat to you.
Well, it's nice to have you on board. We still have more guests. I can't believe this. Right, let's just keep them rolling in. So we've got the Doctor 623.
And he's gone.
Okay. Right, let's keep them rolling. And we got our next guest, and it's Charlotte.
Hello.
Hello.
Hiya.
Can I be the token female then? Because that's apparently what I am.
Oh, are you? Oh, no, you weren't.
No, I'm joking. I mean with the
With
idiot.
your internalized misogyny.
I know that's what I'm referring
I
to.
just want to add, we've got 2 token females on the panel tonight.
Oh,
Right.
that's good, isn't it?
You're the MVP.
Right. Let's bring on our next guest. We have them keep coming. They keep coming. And we've got Gary.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hello,
Gary.
Gary.
Hey,
Hi, Gary.
Hello, good to see you all.
Nice to have you on board. And finally, we have the Wolf and the Storm.
Hey guys.
Not himself. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to
It's
have
the
you
two
all
people.
on board. Oh,
I
my
gotta
God.
tell you, Noel, this is a thrill. I've been trying to get a hold of you for what feels like ages. Wow.
hey.
Well, I'm sorry, I do get around to you eventually. Sorry, it's just I get so many messages, especially messages I hate. They kind of get mixed up. I mean, Twitter kind of blew up again today over this whole Timeless Children debacle. But we might as well get straight into it. So, if you have obviously joined me from the start, I played a little clip. It's only 3.5 minutes long. But it's basically this panel destroying the Timeless Children. Some come out and basically say that it's child abuse and murder, which to me is very embarrassing for the BBC. But I'd like to ask every member of the panel, and we'll go through the whole lot. Firstly, what are your thoughts on the panel, what they have to say, and what are your personal feelings on the Timeless Children or the Time Lord's origin story as it's being dressed up as? We'll start with you, Lee. And if you could all, if just so everybody gets a chance, if you keep it brief enough, if you know what I mean, like get your points across, but like, because you're like me, Lee.
I get away with myself. Yeah, all I'll say is really, I watched the panel earlier today. And just after that, I went on to see Rabbi's video, and it was about the same subject.
Yeah.
So that was kind of good timing. I watched the whole thing. I was surprised. I was pleased. And then it kind of shut the bed at the end with the vote, the public vote that I heard nothing of, where Jodie came second as the best doctor over Tom Baker, who was third. Which I thought, okay. Everyone in the panel seems to have said their piece about it and clearly disliking and making your talking point the central theme. And it was just like this is a major disconnect. And if it's anything like the vote on your poll, no, they probably vote bombed it in just the same way. They're very organized and they're very concerted in their efforts. I think the Timeless Child, the whole thing is just not only terrible fanfic, but how they can let that pass through Piers Wenger, who thinks that that's editorially satisfactory and good, is an indictment really of the culture within the BBC and their aloofness to reality, I think, fundamentally.
Thank you, Lee. The English Longbowman, go ahead. What are your thoughts and feelings on it?
I'll have to go back and check the whole panel. I've only actually saw the Rabbis, and that was literally, again, like Lee, just before I came on here.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do then. You go off and you watch that 3.5 minutes. I'll go around.
I've seen that. I've seen that bit. I've seen the bit we're talking about.
Right,
yeah. I've seen the Rabbis thing. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we're just talking about that section where you criticise the Timeless Children. So what are your personal thoughts anyway? And
I love the Rabbi trying to hide the Schadenfreude. I thought he was absolutely right. The guy did not expect what he was going to get. But what do you mean a story that's rewritten the Time Lord's history? There hasn't been anything. There's been no Doctor Who for the last 3 years anyway. I've got a potentially controversial view on that. I do not in any way, shape or form support any sort of abuse. Let me put it that way for starters. The basic concept I thought was a potentially interesting idea. If it had been handled, it is not suitable for a children's or family viewing show like Doctor Who. But some of the basic concepts I thought were potentially interesting in the right place. The way the BBC handle it? Absolutely not. It was an absolute disaster, and I'm glad I've not seen it. I've heard enough about it.
Yeah, you don't want to.
No, I don't.
It seems like the panel is dropping like flies.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think we've got them back. Okay.
I think Marty said that if you could send him an email that he can come on his computer.
No problem. I'll do that now for you in a second, mate. Hold on. Just trying to get the others on the panel for some weird reason. There we go. Oh, no, he's here. He's here. So we got Marty. Right. Colin, do you want to just finish up there? Sorry, I didn't want to cut across you there. Just finish making your point there, pal.
So I think I made it. I thought the panel's was interesting. I'm going to go when we finish. I'll go and actually watch the rest of the panel. I think if I can find it. But yeah, I thought I almost felt sorry for the guy because he didn't expect what he was going to get. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long that's going to actually stay up on YouTube.
Yeah, his face was priceless. I have to.
Yeah.
You could see that he wasn't expecting that at all. He actually didn't know what to say, and then he actually quickly and swiftly changed subject. But we'll go to the Wolf and the Storm, and welcome to the Tardis Zone. It's nice to have you on board.
Thank you.
No problem. Just to ask you how you felt seeing that panel, and what are your personal thoughts on the let's call it what it is, the Time Lord's origins story.
Well, I also saw that first 3 minutes both on my own and through Rabbi's own post of it. I didn't feel like I needed to watch the rest because I kind of knew what I was going to expect.
Yeah.
Considering that Chibnall and Jody do not interact with their fans whatsoever, I knew that it was going to be just basically more agenda-driven shilling to prop up what BBC's trying to do. So I didn't want to waste my time with it. But as you said, it was very interesting to see how quickly that the moderator was shut down in his thinking, because I think he went into this assuming that at least some of the guests were going to be supportive. And he could not believe down to the last person that no one liked it. Now, some people think, oh, well, these guys aren't real fans, so what they say doesn't matter. Okay, that's the exact opposite. You could expect, if you could say, okay, the real fans, if they're pissed about it, well, what they think doesn't matter. But if the not the news, but if the casual fans, the ones who aren't as hardcore as we are turned off by this,
yeah, exactly,
you got a problem, because the casual fans are the ones that you're trying to keep, right? And if you can't even keep them after we've walked away, oh, you got a problem. A serious problem.
Yep, that 100%. We've been saying, I agree. We've been saying it for a long time now. If you can't, you're right. If you can't keep the normies, as we call them, interested in this TV show, well, then the show is already dead in the water, because the fans will only bring you so far with the ratings, you know. And let's be honest, even during the end of Stephen Moffat's era, the ratings were dwindling because, you know, they kind of messed Peter Capaldi around, but you could see all of the agenda starting to seep in to the show, and fans were turned off. So then Chris Chibnall basically doubled or tripled down, if you want to put it that way, and the rest of them walked away. Listen, Series 11 fans left and didn't return. What was going to be interesting about Series 12 that I said was, could they win some of those fans back, right? And the answer to that question is no.
Big failure. Now, as for the Timeless Children itself, oh my God. Other than the fact that they completely destroyed 57 years worth of carefully constructed world building and canon and history and shit on everything that the writers, actors, showrunners, everybody that has been involved over decades put into this show to establish this and to carefully and creatively build this world by smashing it to pieces in 5 seconds. They've done it in such a way that it's offensive because okay, we all know that the Time Lords aren't perfect, but as imperfect as they are, I don't think they would go for this.
No, they
Even
wouldn't.
Rassilon wouldn't go for this. I mean, before he went crazy with the Time War, wouldn't even go for this. Even the Master wouldn't go for this. That's just sick.
So apparently I'm being fake outraged over this. My Twitter has actually exploded because I've called fans out about this. And they're not too happy with me. Me Twitter is literally,
No, how
yeah.
can you be fake when they've watched that stream of you literally in tears? How can somebody fake that?
Yeah, true.
How can you physically fake that emotion you had in that stream?
He's a better actor than Jodie, but then so am I.
It's projection, pure and simple.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I just don't know. That's still we played that clip again the other night. I even felt very I started to get emotional again. I still haven't been able to go back and watch that episode. It's just one of those things.
Why would you?
I just tried to block it out, but it's so hard because it's everywhere. But Gary, welcome, by the way. What are your opinions and thoughts on this panel? I have to be honest, your man's face, and I think everybody will be in agreement on this panel. Your man's face that was hosted was absolutely priceless.
It was a picture,
wasn't it? But Gary, what did you think anyway, pal?
No, you're going to be a little bit upset with me now because I haven't actually seen the panel, to be honest.
Right.
But
Well, I'll tell you what. Look, I'll tell you what. I have it here. I'll play the audio. Right? It's only 3.5 minutes. Just in case anybody actually hasn't heard it, I'll play it. I think I could play it once I don't show the picture. No, but I think we did show, but I'll just play. It's easier this way. Hold on.
It was on YouTube. So.
Yeah, well, Rabbi sent it to me. He sent me it's the first 3 minutes, sure. It's starting.
It's a shame you can't see his face though. Just go and watch it for that alone.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play the audio now, but yeah, I would suggest, and if anybody could actually do me a favor while we're here, if you could actually put that video actually in the chat, that'd be amazing, actually. What I'll do now is I have it here, so I'm gonna hold it up to the speakers, and I hope you can hear it. I think everybody did the last time anyway. So
can I just ask a quick question? Sorry, what's the context of the video?
It's the international. It's the Comic-Con. So it was a Doctor Who panel, and they were talking about the best Doctor Who. Who's the best Doctor Who? But at the very start, they start talking about the Timeless Children. He introduces them all, and then he asks them how they feel about the Timeless Children, and then the whole panel gives their opinion. So that's the clip. So here we go. It's only 3.5 minutes. He's ready, guys?
Yeah.
Right. Come on, what's wrong with me phone?
Gallifrey to the gas lamp district. It's a debate which has raged through time. Who's the best Doctor Who? It's a question to answer on this panel presented by I'm your moderator, CNN Sam Grayman, and with me to debate the great Time Lord is a panel of expert and opinionated Whovians. Let's meet them now.
It's okay, Ted.
Ritter Alexander, Julie O'Malley, Christy Schumann, Karen Glover,
John Dyer the Fifth.
Now, recently aired episode, season finale, The Time of the Children.
Sorry about Ted in the background.
A whole bunch more Doctors we never knew about. That controversial episode has really divided opinion, to say the least. What did the panel think about the whole history of the Doctor was rewritten in this big change of mythology?
I
I did not like this because it turned the Doctor into kidnappers and child abusers, and I don't think that's what Doctor Who is about.
You don't think Doctor Who's the place for child abuse? Yes, possibly so. Good point. What did you reckon, John?
Well, while I did like the idea of an older black female doctor among these new ones, I thought the whole contrivance was plot desperation and just, of course, messing with Ken.
Oh, take it away, Julie.
I feel exactly that it was plot desperation, that they had written themselves into a corner and they didn't know where to go, and so they just came up with this outlandish story. I think the fallout that they're not expecting is the child abuse part, though. I don't think he thought of that.
Wow. Karen?
I did not like it at all. Basically, we waited 50 years, or a little over 50 years, to find out what the Doctor, who the Doctor is, and then all they came up with was a lost child. And so it was
You don't want to know.
and to create Time Lords. Where's their backstories? Where else did this child come from? Now there's like hundreds of doctors.
Panel. Christy, are you going to be the
Danny, stays here.
Please help me.
No, I just episode so bad. They put so many polls into the food canon. From William Hartnell being the one with the chameleon stick gets stuck in the blue box form, to the birth of the Time Lords, and it would have made more sense actually if it was the Master that was the Timeless Child than the Doctor. But hey, let's start it off with child abuse.
Wow. Okay, so I think I'll tell with you nothing on that point. But
Right, so that's it. So basically, then he goes on to ask Doctor Who is in the poll, and apparently Jodie Whittaker beats Tom Baker into second place or so. Now, who won the poll?
It was Tennant who won the poll, and Whittaker came second above Tom Baker, who came third.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if that isn't vote bombing, I don't know what is. There's no way anyone would put that woman in second place. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right,
Orly, they just didn't have older fans for the voting. You never know, unless they went with a load of very young fans.
Or they did not. What they seem to do, though, I notice before I get Gary in, but what I do notice is that when these polls seem to go out, we never are really made aware, but the other side always seem to know when there's a poll. I do get suspicious of that. But Gary, go on. You've listened to the clip now. That was the panel. So that was a Comic-Con panel. The host there was trying to find out of them what they thought of the time. Even the intro, you could see he had a big goofy smile on his face. He genuinely thought these people were going to be praising it.
He picked a panel of majority women. There was only one gay guy who was there to represent the penis factor, and I think he thought that by getting all these women on the panel, they would all be completely for Whittaker, and I think that really backfired spectacularly. So
go ahead, Gary.
No, all I was going to say is I agree. Was it Charlotte who was just speaking a second ago? The lady that was speaking
about the age of fan.
Yeah, that would have been my thought exactly. It seems like it's designed for post-millennials, and anyone before that. What upsets me is, I mean, I'm a 50-year-old. We have been totally discarded, and it upsets me. We've invested in it, we've spent money on it, we've supported it when it went through its hiatus, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking what they've done. And the Timeless Children, you can just see that it's all forced, and they turned the Cybermen, and they created this excellent design for the Cybermen, and they've just turned them into a joke. They can be killed easily. You can climb into the suit without the organic parts. The companions. There's no fear, there's no adrenaline. It's just, you could just see it's forced acting. There's no emotion behind it or anything. And I think the acting standard over the last couple of years, it's just staggering. And
the host as well.
it just feels forced. It doesn't feel. It's like they're reading an auto cue, to be honest. To me, it's not just the acting and everything in the 70s. You know, from the 60s, the acting pre Whitaker was far superior. The 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the far superior. It felt natural, but this, it just feels forced. And what is the point of it being called Doctor Who anymore? I mean, I'm not interested where the child fell from or where it's come from. It's just absolutely destroyed it. So to me, you know, man, William Hartnell all the way to Peter Capaldi, I'm not interested in anything afterwards. I don't accept it as canon. But it's heartbreaking.
And the host as well.
It's heartbreaking that I apologize. It's horrible that they're only appealing to post-millennials as far as I'm concerned, but everybody else. And the other thing is, if you look at the past, all of the doctors and companions, they engaged with the fans, they spoke with the fans, they appreciated the fans. We've had nothing from this era whatsoever. And all it's been is in interviews, it's all about ideology and nothing else. There's no emotion, there's no joy, there's no thank you, there's no please, nothing. And that's what I find heartbreaking.
And the host himself referred to the audience as Gen Z or something, didn't he? So I think that was the audience that they were going for. I mean, let's have a look at the viewing numbers on that video. 2,726 views. And the comments and likes and dislikes have been turned off. And that's out of 144,000 subscribers as well. And I was watching the Boys panel on Amazon, and that was over 30-odd thousand views.
But I don't want to get political or a problem being, but I honestly, without being political, I honestly do think it's common purpose, because there can't be anything else. It's not common sense. It's not.
Yeah.
It can't be anything else. Because I don't understand what the BBC is playing at. I really don't. And all I can put it down to, maybe it's common purpose. I don't know, but there's just no. I mean, to be honest, I don't understand how anyone can watch the BBC, because it's just a channel about buy your house, sell your house, antique. It's all to do with money and capitalism. There's nothing there for kids, young people. There's nothing. It's just such a bland channel. So I don't know what the plan. I could see a point where the tally will just be switched off with the majority of people, to be honest. Because people are sick of it. And it's unfortunate that minority groups are being used for political purposes.
It is manipulating minorities, and I think they need to speak up as well and say, if you want to do diversity, then at least do it level-headed and properly, naturally, like it used to be, actually, before all this crazy shit started. And I don't know about you, but if I got a job based on the fact that I'm either gay or a white man, or specifically, I mean, other than the character is requesting for, that to be a white man, for example, like a King Edward the whatever VIII, then I think it's I mean, that's fair enough. But when you start trying to focus on all these sort of traits, which are immutable traits of people, and then just shoving them in, like as it's a tick boxing exercise. Not only is it very evident, it's very patronizing, I think. And I would feel agree.
They're trophies at the end of the day. They're not people. They're not characters. They're trophies, and that's all Chibnall sees.
Yes, he's doing this so he can get slaps on the back.
Yeah. What are your opinions on it anyway, Charlotte, overall?
Well, I think this just shows Chibs' utter disdain and hatred. And I think when we've got a showrunner who just sees this as a vehicle, as the Kurtzman guy said, a platform, that's what Chibs sees. And the Timeless Children was him basically saying, I hate the fact that it's been 12 white blokes, so I'm going to use murder, because that's what it is. She murdered that kid. And that's what the panel was talking about with abuse. Because I'm sorry, how do you regenerate without dying? How can you regenerate a number of times without dying? That's the whole point of regeneration. So she murdered that child multiple times. So Chibnall didn't think that bit through because he was so focused on I need to get my black, Asian, Chinese, whatever that list was of kids.
United Colours of Benetton.
Yeah, he didn't think it through.
It wasn't thought through, but also it was done in a way that tries to convince the audience that this is all a wonderful thing. There was a video that Hoovian, I suppose, for want of a better word, did, who defended and used one feminist philosopher in his entire video about why the Timeless Child is great and wonderful.
No, but here's the thing, right?
But hold on. He said that it was great because of the diversity, and he said that Tae-Yoon was turned into a man. Turned into a black man, actually, but he glossed over that fact. But she turned into a man because it proved that what she did to that child was a masculine trait. I mean, you can't wrapping your brain around that.
Was it to be a woman then if it was a masculine trait? Why wasn't it a female? Why wasn't it a male?
Making it up because he's making it up to fit the narrative. You know, this is what they do.
Here's the problem, and I've heard Wolf talk about this and all her stuff. They think they represent our gender, and I know there'll be female fans who are for this, and if you're fully for this, and if you can explain to me why with a logical argument, brilliant, I'm happy for you. But I thought it was pandering from the beginning. The Timeless Children is pandering, and I feel like they're talking down to me as a female fan, not propping me up in any way whatsoever.
And you know, speaking of that, actually, I really think that they've lost the narrative, as it were, because they're thinking they need to appeal to more diverse portions of the fan base, most specifically, I guess, women. But what they're forgetting is that they're appealing to a female portion of the fan base of a certain age group who probably don't know much beyond their age group. I can guarantee you the female fans that have been female fans for a long time, like me, Charlotte, Blue Bonnet, who have been fans for a long time, were perfectly happy with the way the show was before and had no issue whatsoever with the Doctor being a man.
Yeah.
I didn't want it.
Exactly. I don't think a lot of women wanted it, to be quite honest with you, because a lot of women could see that it was pandering. If you wanted a strong female lead in a TV show, well, then you create one. See, this is another thing that the other side don't seem to get either, is it's all well and good replacing a male lead with a female lead and thinking that you're furthering women's rights somehow or whatever. You're not. You're basically papering over the cracks, because what will happen is she will be replaced, right? And probably be a man. They'll probably go with another woman, we don't know, but she will be replaced. It was a token gesture. If you want the further women in the industry, then you need to be creating stuff for them. You cannot just gender swap in every role, because what you're basically doing is you're saying, well, I can't be bothered to actually create a new universe. So what we'll do is we'll take one that's already there, just put the woman in and just change the dialogue. And that's exactly what they've tried to. Well, not even Chris Chibnall has even done that, though.
But it's worse than that, because she's not written as a female character.
No.
Exactly. She's because I was chatting with Daniel about this, and this also works with Tech-Toon because she doesn't say a line. I was chatting with Daniel, and I said, wouldn't it have been fun if we actually had a flirty, sort of cheeky, almost River type personality type Doctor? I think females would have responded well to that, because I think a lot of females like River.
Yeah.
So imagine that type of flirty, fun, because the Doctor in previous times, when he's young and good looking, uses that to his advantage. So do you not think a Doctor being female would actually have a bit of sex appeal, would have a bit of fun, would have a bit of cheek about her, a bit of fire?
When Missy came out that TARDIS in Wild Enough in Time and said, hello, I'm Doctor Who. She sold me on that within
Yeah,
those
because she was
2
female,
lines.
though. That's the difference. She was an actual female character.
And she was more the Doctor in that opening scene than Whittaker has been in 2 series.
Yeah, and Jodie's
Amazing.
just like this weird, not male, not female, from the costume to how she acts. And
Non-binary.
Yeah, but Tech to You, there was nothing female about her. In fact, they made females look bad because, as the panel pointed out, a mother did child abuse.
In fact, Charlotte, you were saying the way you spoke reminded me. In Torchwood, did not Captain John's brother bury him alive to ensure that he would keep dying, coming back for over 100 years to torture him?
Probably, I can't remember.
In other
Sounds
words,
like we do.
but I'm sure I remember just want to.
Yes, he did. He was buried for 2,000 years, constantly coming back to life and dying. It was torturous.
Yeah.
Torturous.
And they think that's okay to do that, however they arrange it, to a child. Great, guys. Try actually looking back at what's happened in your own universe.
Oh, Poor Things is on the panel. We forgot about bloody Poor Things. Poor Things, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, Noel. How are you?
How are you? What's your opinion on what you heard with the Comic-Con panel? And then if you want to actually just give us your personal opinions as well, that would be great.
I thought all of you had forgotten about me. I was kind of sitting back and going, my word.
Blame Lee for that.
No. I'm not blaming anyone. I was kind of like, I don't want to say
Blame
something.
me, everyone else does.
We're blaming me, so
I blame him because when he's on, I don't look so bad.
I had no interest in interrupting because I just thought, do you know what? I'm learning a hell of a lot here, and I think I should sit and be quiet and listen. It was a very, very informative section. Well, look. Cards on the table from me. I have not watched any of the Whittaker era because I can't. Because I knew from the minute it was announced what it was going to be. And then when the reviews started coming in, I'd said, well, this is confirming my own biases, but even my own biases seem to fit in with an awful lot of what everyone else has said about it. And then when I've listened to the synopses and I've been going, oh my God, really? That's what they're going to do? And I just found it getting worse and worse and worse episode by episode. But the whole premise is just awful.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you do that? What is the reason for doing that? In my opinion, and I've said this many times, I believe Chris Chibnall is looking for a legacy. He's looking to walk in and say, I subverted everybody's expectations and decided to walk in and say, I can do this because I can.
Yeah.
And I have the power, like his buddy He-Man or some shit like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, or sorry, a He-Man is maybe a wrong reference for the younger viewers. I don't know. He's Click from the Adam Sandler movie or something like that.
You mean they person?
Do I?
Yes. Because the hive mind tells you so.
Even though all those things are written off stories and movies from the 1930s, but that's another story. But, you know, I just felt the entire thing was about how much can I subvert and change and get away with before I disappear. Now, look, I am not against diversity. I am not against innovation. But this is not diversity or innovation. This is people walking in and saying, I can do this because I have the power. And it's pathetic. It really is pathetic. And it's like, okay, all of a sudden, I'm going to change everything you knew is true. Everything you knew was a lie. Oh, wow. I'm so impressed. Thank you very much. I'm so bloody blown over. I've never known a writer of your type to come in and just change things because they can. It's so bloody lame.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. Like, look, all the things that you guys have been talking about, I always go back to what the things that Hartnell, Troughton, and Pertwee were saying. All the examples of John Pertwee talking about when he was a boy, a lad only over 200, all these kind of things. God, those were beautiful, brilliant things. And even Stephen Moffat brought that in with the thing about grabbing a kid with a leg under the bed. That was beautiful. It was so correct for the show. And the Timeless Children thing is basically like, oh, so the Time Lords were all bastards, or all horrendous human beings, or, sorry, horrendous Time Lords, Gallifreyan.
The patriarchy.
Well, yeah, or whatever you want to call them. And I'm like, really? This is where we're going to go with this? You miss Flavia in the Five Doctors. You miss Linda Bellingham and Trial of the Time Lord. You know, you miss all of. To be honest, the real thing about the Time Lords for me, if you want to look at them as ancient, dusty senators, you've got to look at them as being this kind of like really, really ultra conservative right wing group through the whole Daleks and Terran Cybermen. They're still in the nursery compared to us lot. You know, you've got to kind of go with that. I always felt that was the better way to deal with the Time Lords. If you want to look at the Time Lords as a kind of negative group, then go down the whole men are bad and whatever the fuck they want now. I just don't get it. And sorry for rambling a little bit, but that's how I feel. Pardon me.
Man, listen, that's what I do on this channel, and you know it's been successful. So ramble on, my friend, ramble on. But yeah, listen, already you can tell everybody on the panel in the chat is not happy about this. I mean, look, BBC clearly know there's something up. This would have been embarrassing for them, especially Chris Chibnall, because he's probably sitting at home all smug. You know, he knows his backlash, but he's probably sitting back thinking, well, screw them. But this would have actually opened up a lot of fans' eyes to what was actually going on in this. And you know what? If it took that panel to do that, then that's fine. But I've been saying it since the bloody episode aired, and that bloody annoys me.
Stop lighting up, Noel. It's bad for you.
No, I'm actually lighting a candle, believe it or not.
Is that to calm your nerves? No, that's to calm your nerves.
I've got a nice little calming candle. Because, yeah.
Well, I hope my madness was appreciated. I'm happy if that's okay.
No, that's brilliant. Really spot on. I think you nailed it on the head pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like mixed messages. They've got the message wrong then, because you're right. If they wanted to do men are bad message, then it shouldn't have been a woman doing the experimenting.
But you know, I always go back to
them. It doesn't work.
Sorry, pardon me. I'm interrupting you.
No, I'm just saying their own logic and message is messed up now. If they wanted to do what you were talking about, that men are bad.
But you know, I always think that if you want to look at terrible situations in society, we should always go back to 1970 and look at the Silurians, right? The story of the Silurians. What happens at the end of the Silurians? The Brigadier kills them all, right? Now, how are we meant to feel about that? Because we obviously love the Brigadier, and it's a story about racism, right? So in the story, both groups of races have tried to kill each other, and we're left to ponder as an audience, how should we feel about that?
Yeah. But that's what Doctor Who is good at doing, and that's how we're doing it today.
It's thought-provoking, and it makes you do the work. It makes you think about the issues and make you come to your own conclusions. It doesn't preach to you.
Yeah, precisely, boys. precisely. That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
It forces the audience into an uncomfortable space to make them say, "Do you know what? I don't know whose side I'm on here."
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah, you
what
need
great
grey,
science
don't you?
fiction does.
Yeah, exactly. It uses
Honestly-
metaphor and allegory. And what Chibnall does is, here's a hammer, here's your face, bush, bash, bosh, and that's how it is. Deal
Yeah.
with it.
I mean, if you like that, there is an alternative. The Walking Dead will bash your brains in. So there you go.
Honestly, I think some of the best Doctor Who episodes were not necessarily about whatever carnage that an alien might be inflicting, but the human response, which is why Midnight from season 4 was one of my favorite episodes. And it wasn't because of the nameless, faceless, whatever alien it was that was trying to get into the bus. It was all about the human reactions, about how they were reacting to this thing that they couldn't see.
That's
Yeah,
a great
exactly.
shout, by the way.
They didn't know what it was, they didn't know what it wanted, and yet within moments of it showing up, they all lost their collective minds. And it wasn't just the males. The females were probably worse because they were just as ready to throw the Doctor and anybody else out into the sun and have them roasted and killed. Like
But
that.
you know why that works so well as well, Wolf? Because the Doctor was not in a position of power. Because that episode deliberately had him at the beginning being the big, I'm the cleverest, I should be in charge. And then because of that, that worked against him. And that made them fear him. And then by the end, he was literally couldn't move. And here's the funny thought, what did it take? It took a woman, it took the aerostess to sacrifice herself to save the Doctor.
Can I just read out this super chat because it's been up on the screen for a while now, and it's from Lee Anthony Davis, and it's a $4.99 super chat, and he says, Doctor Who this Friday on my YouTube channel will feature The Edge of Destruction. So go and check out Lee Anthony Davis's YouTube channel. If one of me mods could actually throw it up there, he was in the chat as well earlier. I think he's still here. He's been doing Doctor Who quizzes, so go and check them out. We will be doing one on this channel. I might actually get Lee to come on with me for that, actually, because he has experience in doing them. We might be able to do a live one on this channel and have a bit of fun. But go and subscribe to his channel. Yeah, but going ahead, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, we have awesome candle pictures, and they just wrote. I'll just put it up on the screen anyway, because it's the kind of pettiness that goes on. Apparently, this whole thing is gay.
What's it
Oh dear.
referring to?
Oh, that's my fault then. Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
Here's the problem I have, right? Yous want to stop complaining about Doctor Who in the state that it's in, but yous are allowed to go around and praise it. Do you see how that sounds stupid, doesn't it? Imagine if we told you to say, imagine we kept telling you guys, well, stop praising it. It's you know what I mean? Yous would tell us to shut up. So I'm going to say the exact same thing to you guys. Shut up. Fans are entitled to a different opinion than yours. And if they don't like the show, they will continue to talk about it. And listen, this whole argument as well, oh, well, it's been 3 years since Jodie Whittaker's been cast, get over it. No, we won't get over it. We'll continue to talk about it because it is part of the problem, right?
It's current.
Part of the problem. Chris Chibnall's part of the problem. Piers Wenger and Chris Chibnall's writing team is part of the problem. Okay, and we'll continue to discuss those things, right? Because you continue to praise it. So we're not telling you to stop praising this rubbish, right? We won't. We might ridicule or have a laugh at your expense. That's fine. But we won't.
And these people call you homophobic and they post something like that. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
Can I just say, sorry, I voted for and supported gay marriage in Slovakia. Is that an okay thing to do?
It's allowed.
Yeah.
Well, eventually it wasn't allowed in Slovakia, but when I lived there, I was a big supporter of it and voted for it and supported it. And oh my gosh, does that make me a homophobe? I'm sorry. Problem being, could you tell me?
Oh yeah, that's internalized homophobia. That's horrible, and you should be castrated. Yeah.
Because I supported my best friend. My best friend, his wife, her best friend, was gay and couldn't visit her partner in the hospital in Slovakia. That makes me a homophobe, does it?
Yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, this is the debasing arguments that they use. They can't argue the facts, so they just turn to ad hominem attacks.
They resort to insults like they always do. This is why we'll never take you guys seriously, because even when we've tried to encourage some of you to come on for a meaningful debate, you will only resort to what you always resort to, and you prove it time and time again. You are not capable of forming a meaningful debate because you know we have facts on our side. So instead of that, you throw your toys out and you start insulting away.
The one time you had Rabbi had someone who was a Jody fan come on, all they could do was attempt to mock him and said, "Oh, shut up, you fucking idiot," and stuff like that. I mean, really?
No,
I mean, you get invited on someone's channel.
It was better than that, Lee. They said the viewing figures were fake. They couldn't deny denying the viewing figures, which are the one empirical fact we can all point to.
Fuck.
I mean that's beyond.
Yeah, that was brilliant. BBC's official numbers, by the way, and they tried to say they were fake.
Because at the end of the day,
they faked Doctor Who.
Like, we made sure it was the BBC's official numbers, so there'd be no like, oh, they're fake. But yeah, they still use that line. And when you start looking when someone says that, then you already know you've won the argument, and you're just best getting rid of them, because at that stage, no matter what you present in front of these people, they are not going to accept it. The fact is, 7 million households have walked away from this show since Chris Chibnall has taken over. The Doctor Who.
I'll tell you something else, Noel. My mother, when it comes to the Sunday nights, she watches Country File every bloody weekend.
Yeah.
And she makes sure that she switches over to any other channel other than the BBC to make sure they don't get the bloody view.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how much she's a woman, and all of her bloody sisters grew up from the 60s watching this show.
Because the show has got a long history of actually strong female characters.
Exactly, Charlotte. Exactly.
It connected with its audience. It's disconnected from it. Look, if the one criticism I have about Chris Chibnall's era is this, right? This is my summarization. When it's come to the production team and all the other people involved, they've been cold towards fans, bar that 1 year when she was announced and they couldn't keep their faces out of anywhere and they were doing everything, right? Another thing that comes across as well is the fact that Chris Chibnall and his team, and it was said on the panel, right, they're just clueless, right? Backed himself into a corner and he didn't know what to do. And he came up with this stupid. Listen, if everybody thinks that this was planned, like he has said, and he said that he was thinking about this when he was a kid, this wasn't planned. This wasn't planned, because if you look at Series 11, there was no indication, right? Because Series 11 and 12 are completely different, yeah? Mm-hmm. So there was no indication, right? He didn't listen. He winged Series 12. If you look at Series 12, look how I recall that you could see the parts where it was rewritten and reshot, right? You can actually see in parts where some of the episodes you're looking at them and you're saying, well, there should be something here. Was there something here? And we do know that some stuff was left on the cutting room floor. Apparently, we do know that what's their faces? The Sea Devils were going to make a grand return, but that never happened. Now the rumor is they're going to be in the next series, but we don't know now. But if that's the case, what he's probably done there is he's got the piece that he put on the cutting room floor, and he's just going to insert it somewhere in an episode, because that's what he did. Because he's not a proper showrunner. He doesn't know how to construct story arcs. He certainly doesn't know how to develop any of the characters. The Doctor has stood still, right? The first female Doctor, and she stood still. She hasn't moved whatsoever. She's the same character. She hasn't progressed in any way. The same with Ryan. He has this disability, yet they show it once or twice during the series, but that's supposed to be character development.
Time mechanic
Naz
says
was supposed to be bullied. We have a scene with her behind the bin with Ryan saying, "Oh, I'm a cop and they call me bad names and people are racist towards me." And then you had the whole thing where she's supposed to be bullied, right? There was no character development. So when she did tell us that story about her being bullied, I didn't believe her for 1 second. To be quite honest with you, I thought it was a load of bull. But this is what it was.
No, the doctor doesn't need character development. She's a female, therefore, by definition, in Chimballs' eyes, she is perfect. You cannot improve upon perfection.
Yeah. Well, we've got
the time mechanic says Chibnall wants to generate discussions. Note that he doesn't want debate. I think that's pretty accurate.
Right, hold on. I think we've got the Doctor 623 here. Are you here? Can you hear me? Hello?
Mike might not be on. Her mic's off. Mic's off.
Yeah, they've turned their mic off. You need to turn your mic on.
There you go.
Right. Is it on?
It's on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm actually from the other side.
Cool. Come and speak to us.
I'm not gonna call you names or insult you or anything like that, because that's just stupid. But I do agree with some things, but I disagree with other stuff.
That's okay. You can tell us.
Right, go ahead. The floor is yours. You've got an opportunity. We've always tried to get someone on that doesn't agree with us. So the floor.
Turn your mic up.
Yeah, if you could turn your mic up a little bit, that would be great. And don't worry, we will listen to what you have to say. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Oh,
it's gone again.
Well, we'll give them a chance to come back. I'm not.
The funny thing about Timeless Children that I keep coming back to, I know Lee and I were talking about this in our live chat, is that it was so unplanned that he couldn't even keep the details of his own story straight.
Well, how did he even bloody destroy? How did the Master destroy Gallifrey? That was never explained at all. He could have done that at any time.
Right, but I mean, when you see Tecteun experimenting on this child, it starts out as I guess the child is probably 7, 8, 9, and then over the course of time, the child gets older. But he's forgetting that Gallifreyans are extremely long-lived. And don't forget, even though he says that supposedly this child is not from Gallifrey, he's never questioned the fact that the Doctor has the biology top to bottom of a Gallifreyan. That's never been questioned. So if he's not from Gallifrey, or she, but she still has the biology of a Gallifreyan being. Okay, going on that, so they're extremely long-lived. Regeneration can last 1,000 years. And when you see each child, they get progressively older. Do you know how long that takes? So do you know how long that kid was stuck being tortured like that? Serious?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking awful.
That's what it is.
As older generation fans, right? What's the greatest Doctor Who story of the old era? It's the Caves of Androzani. And Maurice Reeves died 2 weeks ago. Why should we not be having a bloody big celebration for him? Because he was incredible in that movie, in that show.
Well, they forgot it was Delgado's birthday when the Timeless Child was aired, and they completely. I mean, Doctor Who, one of the major Doctor Who websites, who usually puts up when it's someone's birthday or something, completely forgot. I emailed them saying, you do realise you completely forgot Delgado's birthday, don't you? Did I get a reply? No. It's like they just don't care. They don't care. No. All they're caring about is protecting this era at all costs, basically.
How can you be a Doctor Who fan and not love Delgado?
Well, this is it. They spend so much time, and it's all sort of coming out now, especially on Twitter, that they don't like the classic era at all. They really don't. And the proof is when they say things like, "Oh, well, they were problematic when they didn't do this. They did that, and and they did this back then, and that's problematic." And it's just like a list of things that they hate about.
But isn't there a truth that privately Delgado and Pertwee had a kind of relationship? Is that not true?
Yeah, they had a friendship. Yeah, they were very close.
Here's the problem
Yeah,
with
but
that.
is it not a much more private and sexual relationship? Is it?
No.
No, but here's the difference, Lee. The problem is you've got people today who cannot think. Modern sensibilities have shifted so much in the last 10 years, 20 years, let alone if you go back to the 60s and 70s and 80s. So for them to, in today's moralistic viewpoint, judge the past, that's what Chibnall is sort of doing, I think, with this whole retcon. It's like he's judging it and saying, oh, it wasn't diverse enough, there wasn't enough of this, there wasn't enough of that. And it's like, then stop going back and tearing things apart, make your era memorable. Wouldn't it have been amazing if he made Jodie as popular as 10? That would have been actual empowerment. That would have been an actual something to celebrate. But instead, he's just spending his whole time shifting in doctors, shifting in this to make up for the past. And it's like, that's not going to be remembered. You creating a really good, likable doctor in Jodie would have been remembered. Not this, what you're doing right now.
And he's completely ignoring the fact that in classic and, pre-Jodie Who, that they have created some of the strongest female characters on the show to date. Like, you got Sarah Jane, Joe Grant, Liz Shaw, Romana, Ronnie, Rose Tyler, Martha Jones, Donna Noble, River Song. Even though I don't like her, still, they're all powerful, independent, strong. Barbara, they're all independent, strong characters. Stronger sometimes even than the Doctor himself. Rose Tyler took the freaking heart of the TARDIS into herself.
Also, what does Rose do in her first episode? She technically saves the day. Russell in his first episode technically had Rose saving the day.
So don't tell me that there aren't strong women on the show. That irked me so bad in Twice Upon a Time when they tried to make Hartnell look like a sexist pig. Okay, look, we get it. In the 60s, things were different. And viewpoints towards women were different. But you don't have to make him look like a sexist ass.
But you know what? I really, really object to that because Barbara, from the minute she appeared on the screen, was vulnerable but also powerful. And the thing is that there's a scene, I can't remember which episode it is, way back in the day, and where Hartnell is saying to Barbara, look, I can't say this to my granddaughter. Maybe your wonderful personal experience as a woman can bring something out of her that I could never do. Is that not celebrating the strength of women?
I think Barbara was a personification of Verity Lambert. That's my impression. I think she's sort of.
I agree, 100%, man.
Yeah, I think that's her in herself. Yeah.
And what do we get in freaking Twice Upon a Time? The whole time 12 is trying to shut the first Doctor up because every other word that comes out of his mouth is some sexist trope.
Yeah, don't they have the line
tarnishing Hartnell's legacy?
Don't they have the line of Hartnell saying women are glass or some rubbish like that? That set me off.
I still can't believe
like
Moffat
they're made of glass or something.
I cannot believe that
Moffat regrets that. I think that was more BBC influence than Moffat himself, to be quite honest with you. Moffat knows, listen, Moffat and RTD, we know this. Moffat knows Doctor Who. He knows Doctor Who. He gave us some great seasons, let's be honest, and he wouldn't have been able
Yeah, but no, I'm not trying to be funny, but Moffat is a Scottish person. Pardon me, I'm Scottish, if you didn't hear before. Moffat made all these jokes about Scottish people being fat and frying things and being... There was in Matt Smith's very first episode, was a whole, you're Scottish, fry something. And then when Capaldi became Doctor Who, it was a whole, I'm going to blame all our problems on the English, which is the same London Scot pet Brit bullshit. They always.
I like time.
No, I can understand where you're coming from. If I was Scottish myself, I'd probably find that annoying.
Well, pardon me. Listen. I do not wish to bring politics into this.
That's funny.
As a Scottish person who is very much pro-independence, I think that people like Stephen Moffat are comfortable making Scottish people look like the pet bitches of the English the way that he did. So that's the way he is. You know, that's who he is. So pardon me. Listen, English people who are Doctor Who fans, I love you. You're great people. And I want to hang out with you. I want to spend my time talking to you because you're obviously super intelligent. But those things fucking pissed me off. So pardon me. Please let me go with that.
Oh, trust me, mate. I've got a whole list of Moffat things that annoyed me. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, but not as a Scottish person, you didn't.
No, not as a Scottish person.
In fairness, though, I have to admit, you know, there's a lot of stuff that Moffat did himself that I didn't like. But let's be honest. Is there anything? Okay, I'll ask the panel this that I have you all on, right? I want you to name me one Doctor Who episode written by Chris Chibnall that you actually like. We'll start with you, Lee, then we'll go to Gary, then Poor Thing Charlotte, and then The Wolf in the Storm. I love that name. And the English Longbowman. I love that name as well. But you should have just called yourself. You're just being Colin has to be awkward. He pits the English Longbowman. I used to get that one as well. I used to call you that one.
Because I changed it purely because Daniel was on as a Scottish Star Wars. I just haven't been bothered to change it back yet. Daniel's going to be Scottish, fine, that's okay. I'll be the English representative.
Right, let's get with this. I can already. Right, I'll tell you what my favourite one is. Right?
Go on.
My favourite Chris Chibnall episode would have to be.
It's not easy, is it?
Actually, it is. Actually, the Power of Three was written by him, wasn't it? Yeah, the Power of Three. Even though it's that story was very. I have to be honest, there wasn't much of a story, but there was an interesting concept there, and we did get Rory's dad in that episode. So I'm gonna go with Power of Three, but it's still not. Look at if I was to compare it to art that Moffat or RTD did in their eras, it'd be a mediocre episode. But that's the best one that I can pull out of somewhere. And I even had to think about it for a second. But we will go with Lee. Right, so Lee, I'm Power of Three.
To be honest, I don't even remember that story.
It's the one with the cubes.
It's what?
It's the one with the black cubes. Do you remember? Matt
Oh
Smith?
God, that was dreadful. Oh God, no.
Here, the Doctor living with the ponds. That was
another
fun.
countdown story. No. Well, I guess the only one that I remember that I like was one that he clearly had stolen from someone else, and that was Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Oh my God.
Only because it's bonkers. But the thing is, again, like I said, that story was sent in by a budding writer to the BBC, not as a Doctor Who story, but as a science fiction story. And only for him to never get a reply, and then to turn on the TV one day, see a story called Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, which is exactly the same title that he had for his story that he sent to the BBC and heard nothing back from. And there were words and lines in that story which he had written himself. Right? And this guy has a blog up. He's very magnanimous in saying that he's not angry about it or upset. I think he's probably defending himself before people descend on him back then to try and attack him. But it's no two ways about it. That story is plagiarized.
Right. So dinosaurs on a spaceship is.
I can't even remember. There was nothing in series 11 and 12 that comes close to any sort of form of piece of
Well, I
writing.
am actually trying to drag it out, yes, and I suppose I'm just trying to again show the other side that it's not that easy to actually pick a Chris Chibnall episode that we actually all agree on. So far, we've had two different choices. So
maybe 42, just for the title.
Right, but let's see what Gary's choice actually is. Gary, what is your choice?
42 is my one.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
already 3 different episodes, so 42. Was there anything in particular you liked about that episode? What was it that stand out more than the rest of them?
No, I just liked the story. It was on a spaceship. It was atmospheric. You felt hot and sweaty with all the steam and everything. The Doctor being really frightened and vulnerable. Martha, a fantastic companion. The guest cast were, all good actors and actresses. I just thought it was a great story. I loved the story.
Okay, that's an interesting choice. Let's see, can we keep it continued, or will people? Let's see, actually, if the panel. Let's see if anybody on the panel can agree. So we'll go with Poor Things next. Favorite Chris Chibnall episode.
For me, it's Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. The reason why is because I love Triceratops.
He didn't write it. But yeah, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's the Triceratops and it chases a ball like a dog. That's the reason why.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I can like it, because as a little boy, I love dinosaurs, and Triceratops is my favorite dinosaur.
That's fair enough, because I loved Voyage of the Damned, because I love art and got to do it as a kid, so I'm attached to that episode. So I get where you're coming from.
Terror of the Vervoids is much better.
Don't tell Rabbi that. He won't like that.
No, he won't. Charlotte.
I love Terror of the
Vervoids. It's like
when
the greatest Doctor Who story ever compared to the entire Chibnall era.
I love
but that's
Terror
not saying much, is it?
Sorry, who said this?
Charlotte, I'm saying that's not saying much on either end.
But Charlotte, do you not love the Vervoid design?
I do.
No.
Killer salads on legs.
And do you know what? Walking up and down corridors, that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's scary when Chibnall's isn't it?
Down corridors. It's actually the Doctor's wife when House takes over the TARDIS and Amy and Rory are running through the TARDIS. I actually found that was a good episode. I know that's nothing got to do with what we're talking about right now, but I just wanted to talk about, because someone mentioned running through corridors. That's literally running through corridors. That's a deadly episode. But Charlotte, go ahead anyway. It's your turn. So
I'm not going to make it any
easier. On a spaceship, 1 for 42, and obviously I picked the Power of 3. So
and I only picked Dinosaurs on a Spaceship because he didn't.
No, you changing your mind now?
No. That's the one I said, and I'm sticking to it only because he did not write it. I'm going to repeat that. He did not write it.
Okay, fair enough. Charlotte?
I'm going to make it harder and say the Silurian two-parter. Because I know people don't like the design, but I actually like the core idea of them having to negotiate who gets the Earth. That whole bit near the end when he basically sits them down and says, right, you both have a claim, so you have to talk this out. You have to actually be like...
Yeah, but it was a rehash. It was a rehash of the Silurians in the first place. It was no different a story, really, I don't think.
I know, but I think it gave Matt some good moments. I like the idea, and Lee, come on, he copies everything. That's not saying.
Actually, I agree with Charlotte, because that's a very good point. It is a rehash, but it does feed into the things that Chibnall can do.
What, people sitting down and talking?
No.
No, stealing other people's work and claiming it as his own.
Yeah.
call it as it is.
No, Charlotte, you're 100% correct. That kind of topic is where he excels, but he's still not that good.
He's not good at
No,
all.
but it was an interesting idea. That's my
Yeah,
that's
but
why
I
don't
appreciate
find
that.
those
I love the fact that when he goes into that dungeon and he says that she says, "I am the last of my species," and he says, "I'm the last of my species, so don't insult me." That's a brilliant
Yeah,
scene.
and also the moment when he sees the dead Silurian and he goes, "They're not like this." And I like Matt's performance when he's basically like really upset and really hurt that the humans have done that action, because he usually defends them and he can't in that moment.
Yeah, because that's proper Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Again, that's the acting.
No, but it's equally the writing, because if he'd stuck to that, that's far more true to Malcolm Hulke and Terence Dicks and Robert Holmes and all these guys that have come before him that are writing the right stuff. No, I agree with Charlotte. Charlotte's onto something there.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
The Wolf and the Storm, it's your turn. Go ahead, knock yourself out. Which Chibnall episode rocked your boat?
I'm gonna go with Gary on this one. My favorite is 42 because it's the only one that's in any way decent. And I mean, I liked the Silurian two-parter, but and I know that 42 is again that whole running down corridors using a time clock thing. But the difference is, I think, with 42 is that there was boatloads more tension in this episode, and it wasn't just a countdown clock just thrown out, just thrown up there. This was literally 42 minutes in real time, and the countdown part of it was not the biggest part. The bigger part was dealing with the entity that they had taken from the sun, and was killing everybody on board. And it was one of the few times that you actually got to see the Doctor in such a helpless, not just helpless, but terrified state. You don't get to see him that often with that much fear in his face. When he was in that machine and Martha had to freeze him to absolute zero, he looked so afraid because he wasn't sure if he was going to survive. Even though he knows he can regenerate, he really thought for that second there that this was it. And I just thought that it presented the tension really well compared to anything else that Chibnall's done before since.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I do like that scene actually where he is being frozen. But that episode actually, as Matthew Pounder actually quite rightly pointed out, and we should actually bring that up. Even though Chris Chibnall does get credit for that, that is an RTD script because it was so bad in the first place when he was actually handed
surprise.
And he actually had to rewrite it. Now, listen, that was a rewritten script and it's still bad. Can you imagine what the first draft would have been like if even
Yeah, well, we only need to look at series 11 and 12 to know how bad it would be.
Yeah. Well, Colin, go ahead, mate. If there is a Chris Chibnall, and I'm going to ask you then, we're going to go around the panel and ask you which episode you detest the most. I think I already know how the panel is going to vote. but I won't influence you. We'll just keep going anyway. But we'll start with Colin. We'll end with you on this one. Your favorite Chris Chibnall episode.
Well, having gone to IMDb to check out which ones he actually wrote,
I love you. You're
seriously, I didn't know which ones he'd written.
You're a legend.
I do have, like, I go along with you. I do like some parts of the Power of Three because I like the way I quite like what he did with Unit there, and I do like that one scene where he turns around and he says to Kate, he says, "That's it, don't give up. Your father never did." And you realise that he knows who she is and he's known all along who she is. I think that's a very good one. But at the risk of sounding like a simp, I think probably like Charlotte, the Stolen Earth, and he says flipping back on again, Cold Blood. Sorry, the Hungry Earth and Cold Blood. I also, again, yes, I take what you're saying. It's to a degree a rehash, but also I think a follow on to the Cave Monsters, the original Silurians one, because it deals with both sides, and you do get to see both sides of it. And I like what they did with the Silurians. I'm not a great fan of the new look, but I think that's probably my, well, depending if you use the word favourite to mean one I can tolerate most. And Chris
Yeah,
Chibnall
I think
one.
favorite is too strong a word. You're right. I should have said tolerate, but yeah, you do have a point. But the next question is going to be.
You have a minor,
What? Sorry.
I have a minor problem on the which is the worst one on the grounds that I've only ever actually seen one episode of season 12.
Right. Well, we'll touch on that one in a minute. We'll go around the panel again, right? So I'll start with me. You already know what episode I'm going to pick. It's the Timeless Second Children Abomination. I'm not going to sit here and give you all the reasons why, because you have heard every single reason why. So there's no point in me rehashing everything that
I think it would be. I mean, I think probably we're all going to say the same thing, but
no,
I think
it doesn't matter. The panel.
I think it would be more fitting to say other than that one.
No.
I've got a different one.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I was wrong. I'll shut up.
Yeah, you will. Because I was talking first, and
but you're always talking.
And I'm the fourth one on the panel. Right? Okay. Well, I'm joking aside, though. You all know my reasons, so I don't need to go into a big, mad, long debate about my reasons. You know why I don't like this story. You actually heard me on my panel. You already know how I felt, right? So let's go with Lee. Lee, go ahead. What's your
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm with you, Noel. It's the Timeless Child. It does so much damage. It's incalculable. But again, it's where do you begin? I mean, all of it was so dire and dour and depressing and boring and crap. I mean, when I really tuned out was around Praxius and the spiders thing. That was just awful. I mean, it was boring as hell, I think, more than anything. So, I mean, it was a bad start, really. I mean, the woman who fell to earth, apart from falling thousands of miles and landing through a train roof and being perfectly okay, it wasn't too bad. It was all right. But it just went south pretty quickly after that. And, I mean, the ratings speak for itself. The Timeless Child, hands down, just abysmal.
Right, Gary, go ahead.
Oh gosh, I thought the woman who fell to earth, it was okay. I didn't mind that. The Ghost Monument, I didn't really mind that. But by the time I got to Rosa, I just thought, oh, I won't give you the reason why, but Rosa was the start for me. And I just hoped after Rosa, it just seemed to dip, and I thought it was going to get better, but it just seemed to dip and never really recovered from there, to be honest. It's just all the forced ideology and everything. Yeah, everything. That's all I can say, really.
No, that's no problem. Who we got next on the panel? Because everybody's names seem to disappear. We'll go with the Wolf and the Storm next. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, same as most of what everyone else has said. The Timeless Children for the wholesale destruction of 57 years worth of carefully constructive and beautifully in a beautifully built world, and also the destruction of the Doctor, herself. Yeah. Timeless Children for the win.
Well, so far it's unanimous. Let's go with who have we got
for
next?
the lose. For the lose.
Charlotte, go ahead.
Well, mine's Orphan 55, but not for the obvious reason. And my reason is because of the characterization of the Doctor in that episode. And that's because during Series 11, I gradually saw how she didn't care. She was cold to people. She had double standards. And it kept being aimed towards Graham. And there was a few moments that I was like, that's not the Doctor. Why are you acting like that? And my big moment in the finale of Series 11 was when she said, you can't travel with me if you kill Tim Shaw. And I was like, the Doctor wouldn't say that because the Doctor would understand grief better than anybody because of how much he'd lost. So her saying that to Graham, I was like, that's so undoctor-like. He's grieving for his wife who, if you remember, he met with his cancer in the cancer ward. She was his nurse. So it's not like they had a very strong connection. They had a very emotional connection. So he's a grieving man, and you turning around saying, you're not travelling with me. I was like, so I had that issue all the way through Series 11, and then it got to Orphan, and it was the speech she did at the end, and it wasn't the fact that she was banging us over the head with the environmental rubbish. It was the fact that she was doing a speech about the environment instead of saving the mother and daughter outside the TARDIS, because she basically left them to die. Quite
like she does all the time. And not only that, it's that thing she did with Graham and the cancer thing, that is equal in my mind as being another offensive thing.
Let's talk about that after we get Colin's point, because I do think that's another thing that we could actually bring up. So Colin, just to finish off what we were talking about, so the worst Chibnall episode in your opinion, is it?
Again.
What?
You forgot Poor Things again.
Did I?
You forgot Poor Things again. I forgot.
You always forget me. I'm very, very forgettable.
Well, I have to be honest. I'm racist against Scots.
You, Daniel,
they're just called the Irish people.
Daniel.
I'm only meant to go ahead. Poor Things. I'm sorry. It's just everybody, because there's so many people on the panel. I have to keep scrolling up the screen to see who. Sorry. Go ahead, and then we'll go with Colin.
You're racist against Scots? No. Daniel's been like your biggest fucking supporter.
He forgets Daniel as well. Don't forget.
He does, yeah.
It's a joke.
Oh dear.
I tell you what, my family originally came from Ireland to Scotland. So how fucking dare you, bitch?
It's even bloody worse, you little traitor. Go on.
No, I'm sorry. I apologise. I'm not one of those kind of guys.
No,
but my family originally were kicked out of Dublin way back when the revolution was going on, and they moved to Glasgow and blah blah blah. And what the fuck do I know? You know. And I tell you what, I love Charlotte. Charlotte is the most intelligent person I've heard on this subject. Charlotte, if you're single, I'd like to talk to you. Boom Shalafay. But equally,
no, you wouldn't like me,
problematic.
I wouldn't like you. Is that true?
It's Noel's blind date.
Sorry, Charlotte. Pardon me.
It's Noel's blind date. Still have turned out.
You wouldn't like me if you met me, is what I said.
I wouldn't like you if I met you.
No, I think you're ending with a sarcasm, mate.
No, I'm really funny. Pardon me. Anyway, no, you're a fucker. I love you, man, but this is bullshit. I'm not having it.
I guess that leaves me out being the only American. Oh well.
Which American are you?
What do you mean?
Who are you? I don't know the name. I'm just hearing a voice.
Which American?
Yeah, there's many Americans that love Doctor Who. Who are you?
I'm just me.
What's your name, for God's sake?
Oh, Lisa.
Lisa who?
Exactly, Lisa who?
Which name are you on the panel, for God's sake?
Wolf and Storm.
You're the Wolf in the Storm, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm really, really into American Girls, so can we talk later?
Oh,
Sorry, is my Scottish accent very Scottish? Or very, very
Not at
limited?
all. Not at all. Trust me, I'm a Malcolm Tucker fan,
Like,
so I ain't
it's your
got no.
personality she's got a problem with.
No. Look at my.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
I have no problems with Scottish dudes. Okay.
I tell you what though, my Scottish accent sounds like it's very fucking tame and lame. The way this is going.
Oh, now you've got problem doing is. That's the issue now. We've got problem
Yeah,
trying
that's it. You're gonna have to suffer
We've
that.
got a five Canadian dollar super chat from Chris, our moderator. How are you, Chris?
Do you know how much bloody whiskey I've got here sat in my house that I'm drinking as we speak?
Good man. Shout out the greatest doctor ever, Jody. Jody.
Sorry, what was the original question? No, I can't remember.
I know it's very hard to actually say our full name, isn't it, Chris?
No.
Right. Well,
all the best to you, Chris.
Timeless children. Right. Let's talk about the other.
Did we? No, we didn't. We didn't hear. Paul Thingy's answer, and we didn't hear Colin's answer either.
No, I didn't know the question. Tell me the question first.
Which was your worst Chibnall?
Worst
The
Chibnall
worst
episode.
Chibnall episode.
My worst Chibnall episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? Obviously, Timeless Children is awful.
Right.
But I think Fugitive of the Jadoon is the worst. Because it then denigrates Hartnell.
Actually, he has a point there. Actually, is actually a very it's another one. Actually, there's 2 episodes actually, in this series 12 that are very that split the fandom. It's Fugitive.
Well, that was the warning signal, wasn't it? The Fugitive episode. It was like, oh no, you're actually going to.
That's when the whole fandom realised that what Gary was saying months ago was actually going to happen, because when she reveals the TARDIS and then John Martin comes out en route and says, "Hi, I'm the Doctor," I was like, wow.
Yeah, and you've got to remember as well, Chibs helpfully came out saying, "No, she's not a parallel universe Doctor." So that basically was the one hope everybody had.
Yeah. I do
I
like
want to hang out with Charlotte. Charlotte is the best person in the world.
That's what whiskey does. That's what the whiskey does. That's what the whiskey does.
Well, we've got him talking about Chibnall, so of course he needs a bit of whiskey.
That's it. I see that Chibnall.
Listen, children. I have 86 bottles of whiskey in my cupboard.
Right.
I'm a whiskey drinker.
You're Scottish in Glasgow. Duh.
I don't live in Glasgow, but I'm from Glasgow.
Well, there you are. You can't take the Glaswegian out of the Glaswegian.
You know, the Fugitive of the Jadoon also does a disservice. It also does a disservice to Jack, because not only is Jack worth more than just to be shoehorned in, John Barrowman's talent as an actor is worth more than
that pissed me off, that whole scene.
Yeah, I like John Barrowman, but he is a unionist. It's a problem.
Well, no, he's personal politics.
Yeah, but here's the problem I have with John Barrowman. When he wants to be part of the UK state, he is very much American. But then when he's asked to be, how should Scotland be? He's very much with his very funny accent that talks like that. Fuck that prick.
That sounds like something from Absolutely. Do you remember that?
Exactly, man. You know what?
Storybridge.
Yeah, man, but that's why I love you. You're the honest guy. I love you. You're a great guy.
Are you at the stage now of drinking where you love everybody?
No.
Not yet.
No. I'm very sorry, Noel, but I cannot love these people.
Listen. This is what this panel is all about. We get everybody on, and you know, I even had a panel where I was drunk. So I don't care. Listen, you're having fun. That's what all that matters, and we're discussing serious issues here as well. Which is
No. Listen, man. Would you like to do a drinking session on whiskey with all the Whovians? That's a good idea.
We'd all lose. Not straight away.
There is no loss.
You never know. A whole group of Whovians on whiskey might actually come up with a better plot than Chibnall. You never know.
You'd have to be drunk to write like Chibnall.
You know what, Charlotte? You are always right, man. Come on.
It's hard to come up with the worst ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's all do it. Let's have a drinking session where I will do a special explanation of whiskey. If everyone can have a bottle of whiskey that is specific and then they're all drinking it together, let's do that. Yeah, that's good fun.
There's only one problem with that plan. Yeah, everybody gets one bottle of whiskey, but I get 3.
How come?
Because I drank a bottle of whiskey live on a live stream already, and I was still standing. So, like, I'll need about 2.
No. We picked 6 specific bottles of whiskey, right? And everyone is sitting in a special group, and we all sit down and have a chat about it, and that's good fun.
The
Y'all gonna do that? If y'all gonna do that, don't forget to invite the critical drinker. I'm highly upset if he wasn't.
The Who's Booze stream.
Critical drinker is Scottish. He will always be there. Come on.
Plus, as well,
Go away now.
Also, do you remember, Wolf, in that scene, they used Jack to have another, "Oh, I thought you were the doctor" line, when we'd already had the upgrade line, because he kicked Graham thinking he was the doctor, didn't he?
Because that's the only hilarity that Chibnall can think up.
Yeah, so it was like...
I tell you what, I love the fact that in Rick and Morty, they've got the whole scene where Rick is trying to get the selfie for him and Morty from the president and going, "I'm Doctor Who in this shit."
And Colin, what about your least favourite?
Well, having not actually seen any but one of episode 12, and taking a slightly meta view of it, seeing exactly what Chibnall's is like, my 2 actually combined are Rosa and Spyfall Part 2, both for the appalling insults they gave to real historical figures who did extremely heroic things, especially in Spyfall Part 2. The atrocious insult they did to Norinyak Khan and to Rosa Parks.
Yeah. Well, giving the Nazis a free gift at the end of that. Yeah, that's pretty. That's unforgivable.
I mean, how do we deal with the Nazis? We make them like in The Producers.
A joke.
Yes. I mean,
that's how we deal with those fuckers.
Yeah.
That's what really pissed me off about that tweet storm that Noel was. I was reading that one. I actually responded to that quite a few times. The one that Noel was involved in this earlier this afternoon about them saying that why would we claim that Chibnall was promoting child abuse? Does that mean that RTD promotes genocide by killing off the Daleks or blah 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 blah? I'm like, okay, look. First of all, Terry Nation invented the Daleks as a political allegory to be evil, emotionless villains, Nazis, yes, to be destroyed. They were meant to be evil. Movies like 12 Years a Slave was meant to promote the fact that slavery was wrong. There was nothing, there was no villain or no thing like the Cybermen or Daleks that was ever put into the show that was there that didn't have a purpose. This shit with Taeyoon doing what she did, that was personal gain, start to finish. Personal gain with no purpose. I'm not saying that Chibnall promotes child abuse, but I'm saying that him agreeing to write this and include this there's something not right up there.
Yeah.
And also
Exactly.
with the cancer scene, like people pointed out, that's a normal human being wouldn't write that scene. Like a socially adjusted human being wouldn't write that scene.
But Chibnall would. That says it all.
Chibnall, I don't think, to be fair, that episode, but he obviously had to okay that script and let it go past.
But Chibnall thinks Terror of the Vervoids is a bad story.
And here's the thing, right now my Twitter feed is exploding because I basically put up the tweet, as you all seen earlier, criticizing this, and everybody is having a go at me now. Listen, I don't care if he's have a go at me, right? What you are doing is you're exposing yourselves of the kind of human beings that you are. It doesn't matter if you're trying. Listen, as I said, if you're starting a sentence with, well, RTD did this and Terry Nation did this, then you're trying to justify the Timeless Children's story arc. Well, then I'm justified in what I'm saying. You're advocating then for child abuse.
Listen, man, these guys are no fun. They don't want to dance. They don't want to have a sexy time. What the fuck is wrong with them?
No, but here's the difference. If we take the Russell example, like obviously you're saying they're doing, did he ever make the Daleks look like the good guys? No. Did he ever sympathize
No.
like the Daleks seem like they were a good option? No. The Timeless Child made Tet-2 look like this amazing woman of science, as Gary said on his stream notes about it. So the Daleks were never seen as a good force; they were seen as the bad guys. So how can you compare that to Tet-2 when she was put on this pedestal? The Daleks never been put on a pedestal.
Exactly. He took this
Charlotte,
kid
you're so
back to Gallifrey and looked after this kid for a while and was a loving parent to that child. But then as soon as that child has a fatal accident and then she sees that the child then comes back to life and she sees this amazing thing happen, instead of like caring for the child, like which most people would do, especially if you adopt a child, you're going to love that child. She decided the best thing to do was, well, I'm going to experiment on that child. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to murder that child as part of that experiment because I need to get this power. And as the Wolf in the Storm said, it was for personal gain. And yous are supporting it. Chris Chibnall is supporting this because he let that script, whether he wrote it himself or whether he is the main man. He's the man that passes these scripts at the end of the day because he's the showrunner. So, you know, if it goes past and it's put up on the screen, well, then he's endorsing it. It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to back down on this one. And you can come on to me Twitter account all you want and retweet me tweets so other people can come on then and start giving me shit. I don't care. I'm going to keep retweeting your ridiculous tweets anyway, you bunch of idiots, right? That's what you are doing. Start a sentence with, well, Terry Nation did this, RTD did this, Stephen Moffat did this. Well, then you're defending the Timeless Children, and I have no time for you. And I'm being honest with you, I would seriously be worried if any of you people had kids. Seriously, I would. If that's the way your mindset is and you're trying to justify something like this, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Honestly, the whataboutism is not going to work. It's a tired...
It's a logical fallacy as well.
And if you look at their responses, they're literally word for word the same, which only tells me that they're probably bots.
Well,
they don't have...
No, it's because they all think the same way, and they all get their talking points from the head of their hydras, whichever cult that they belong to.
The worst response, I think, is them saying that, well, the Time Lords aren't supposed to be viewed as good anyway. But we're not supposed to root for them. Well, that's not true. If you've ever watched in the entire history of the show, I'm not saying that there haven't been bad ones. We all know, but they're not a perfect race. There are good ones and there are bad ones. They started off as the aloof, dusty senators looking down from on high, not wanting to get involved, and then over time they changed. And honestly, I think that very small things could have been done to the Timeless Children episode to make it make more sense. Let's say she did love this child and she took care of her. Then the child fell off the cliff and she found out that this child had a special gift that nobody else had. Yeah. What if Rassilon was alive then and Rassilon found out that this child had a special gift and Rassilon was the one that tried to go after this child and Tecteun had to protect her? wouldn't that have a lot more like tension and depth to it than her just?
It would have been more
No,
right on.
or
It would have been in their philosophy, yeah.
And
But
it
Andy
also-
Jack says something interesting in the chat. Says, remember, every time she kills the kid, she has no idea that she will still come back to life.
Because Rassilon doing it is believable. Rassilon has shown to have that sort of penchant within the history of the show. So it would make sense for him to do it.
And also
But-
think about the powerful message it could have given of motherly love, a mother protecting her child.
You can't have that now. That's nuclear family. That's out. Nuclear
And
family.
Chris Persia says Tecteun was a kidnapper, not an adoptive mother, and the Timeless Child suffered from Stockholm syndrome on top of being a test subject. So they're mental abuse as well as physical.
But if we go back for half an hour to when we were saying about our favourite, in air quotes, Chibnall episodes, none of us came up with anything that I think it's fair to say that we really like. I mean, it's something that I've always thought about Chibnall. Well, having said that, I've actually just looked back at some of the things he has actually done, and I actually quite liked a couple of things he's actually done. I quite like the Camelot miniseries, but I think he has, or some of his stories have had, quite interesting, good ideas. He just can't carry them through. Now, whether it's just because of his particular political, personal viewpoint, or a lack of ability to actually go through, I don't know. But every single one of the stories that we all said we liked good points about it, but I don't think any of us actually said they were good stories all the way through. Here we go again. He's putting wires out here.
No, because it's like in series 11. If I've got to be positive, I actually really like Graham.
Oh,
but
sorry, keep putting wires on my headphones.
I think a lot of that was probably Bradley's acting, but I actually think there's a really powerful scene, and I'm not lying when I say this. And I don't know which episode it was in when he went home for the first time after Grace died.
Arachnids.
And he just sat in his lounge, and I actually felt really emotional about that because you could feel
that was the best scene I think that they ever did in that series.
Because Bradley Walsh can actually carry the scene, though. He's convincing, like all the way through. Like Barter, listen, he bailed, right? He knows how bad this is. I don't think it was like Chris Chibnall a creative decision. I reckon he decided to call it a day. Fully developed, but what they did give him, and when he was given kind of decent material, he was one of the shining lights of this whole era. Was Bradley Walsh, but even at that, and I've said this consistently, and I have to stick with it. If you compare him to past companions, you wouldn't even consider him or you wouldn't even put his name in the frame if you are going to name. If I said to you, for example, name an older male that you'd like to be a companion in the TARDIS, I don't think anybody would mention Bradley Walsh before he was even picked. I don't think his name would even come into the frame because people wouldn't see him that way. But he did work to a certain extent. But
they made a joke out of him in the second.
Yeah, they did. That's what I mean.
Run.
They turned from series 11 to series 12. There's a complete difference. You're right, and it's such a shame. And Tolson Cole as well. Series 11, he wasn't too bad. He was another one that we were kind of all praising, saying
that him sucking his thumb for fuck's sake. I mean, really.
Then by series 12, then again, his character hits the wall. Yaz, no character development whatsoever in 2 seasons. But apparently now she's going to be all loved up with the Doctor. But yeah, try convince fans of that shit now. Well done.
You know what pissed me off more than You know what pissed me off more than anything was in that one episode where that transdimensional entity took Grace's form, and it was trying to convince Graham to stay in that other alternate world, whatever. How hard that had to have been for him to let her go, knowing how much grief he still felt. And then once it was all said and done, I would have hoped that the Doctor would she didn't even have to say words, just to stand there next to him and just to know that she was there if he needed some sort of comfort. Because you would think she, above anybody, would understand what that grief is like. He not only lost his own family, he lost his entire race. So you would think she would understand this. But no, apparently, you know, fuck it all, because nobody matters but her. So
she's not the Doctor. Quite
Oh, 'cause-
simple, she's not the Doctor.
It's because Graham is a middle-aged white old man. Let's be honest.
I mean, what it had to do to him to, I know she wasn't really Grace, but what it had to do to him to walk away when everything in him was desperate to stay.
Yeah, and like I said, that moment in the finale, he's seen the killer of his wife. He's seen Tim Shaw has survived. He's not dead, so it's a very human response to say, "I want to kill him." And did the Doctor give a speech about, "I know what grief does. I know how it changes you. I know how you think this is going to help, but trust me, it's not going to help you in the long run." That's all she needed to say to him. But
I mean,
no, it
Jesus
was.
Christ, the episode Dalek, Eccleston personified that anger and that grief. Personified it.
But he listened to Rose at the end, didn't he?
The Doctor is now a sociopath, says.
Here's the reply that I got, right?
Yeah.
This is the typical reply. Want you to tell me what you think of this. So, the reply I got was, so the Doctor's killed both his own race and the Daleks. Jack killed his own grandson. What are you going to start accusing me of supporting child murder and genocide because I like both RTD's era and Children of Earth? Your logic is absolutely flawed.
Oh yeah, false argument. It's a false. That argument is so disingenuous. I mean, it's so outrageous.
And the Doctor's in the 50th because we all watched it.
The Doctor didn't kill his own people.
Yeah,
he thought
exactly.
he had, but he chose not to.
Universe. And even in RTD's era, they were in a pocket universe. Remember? So
he chose not to, and he fixed it. Did they not watch the 50th?
Was Jack killing his grandson, though? Even though that didn't sit well with me, it was necessary to save the rest of the world. There was no reason for this woman to go and do what she did to that child. She did it for self-gain. Jack didn't murder that child for self-gain. He did it to save the world.
And also, you can add on to the Doctor aspect of that. He carried that guilt. In that incarnation, he didn't call himself Doctor. He called himself, I can't remember the title, he purposely didn't call himself the Doctor because he was so ashamed with his actions. There was no shame on Tatooine. There was no remorse.
She didn't even say a line. She didn't say a single word.
Yeah, but
I mean, even though Moffat sort of retconned the whole destruction of Gallifrey thing, did they realize that he had no choice?
Yeah,
the universe literally would have burned if he hadn't done it.
Yeah.
It was basically, I've got two horrible decisions. I'm sure there's even a speech he says this, like, what would you do if you had the two most worst options possible?
It's a straw man argument. It's not even worth replying to. It's just utter crap. It's nonsense.
And in doing it, in making that horrible choice, he literally destroyed his own soul.
Yeah, that was the whole point of not calling himself the Doctor, because he broke his oath. He wasn't never cruel, never cowardly. He broke his oath. That was a massive part of the War Doctor's sort of character.
And yet, when Jodie has the same decision to make at the end of the Timeless Children by using that, what the hell was that stuff called that would wipe out all flesh?
Siberium, whatever.
Yeah, when she has that same choice to make as soon as the old guy walks in. Oh, okay, here, take it, bye.
Yeah, I'll be a coward. I'll run. That's fine.
What happened to never cruel or cowardly, bitch? Never cruel or cowardly.
What happened to Ten saying to Wilf, I'm going to sack, when Wilf said, no, I'm an old man, Doc, I'm an old man. And he goes, no, it would be an honour to sacrifice.
I was wondering who that was. So I have this journalist fella from America, Tom Coates or something, whatever his name is, from San Francisco, plasticbag.org. So obviously he's jumped in onto the thread that I'm obviously where I'm talking about the stuff, and he's having a a debate with someone else. He's resorted to the even journalists. They resorted to attacking people because of their grammar. Do some of these people not realize that people, and you get this a lot, you get a lot of people criticizing someone for their grammar. Do you not realize that maybe some people have learning difficulties and maybe can't spell properly? That still does happen, you know. That hasn't been eradicated because we're in 2020. You know what I mean? Some people might have might get their words mixed up because of a brain injury or something. Stop being a bunch of idiots, right? And when you lose an argument, going after people because
that's a low bar argument. I mean, that's anti-intellectual in itself. It's disingenuous. If you're going after someone on a personal level, you've thrown the argument. It's as simple as that.
That's it. That's it. And all I do.
If he wants to, why don't you invite him? Invite him to the stream. Oh God.
Right, as I was saying, anyway, before we got interrupted by a nice guitar there. What was I saying? Yeah. This is what I was saying. So I'm being accused again of picking on people because I retweet people's tweets and stuff like that. They're doing exactly the same thing with my tweets, but I'm not going and saying accusing them of picking on someone. I've been accused in the chat earlier on of bullying Ace Creeper. Apparently he's a nice guy. Well, I have spoken to him and he does seem like a nice guy, but if you're going to come out and defend something, which they do with the tweet that they put out, I put it up on my Twitter account. I mean, everybody could see clearly what they're trying to say, right? You come out with something, you're defending it. It's as simple as that. Instead of saying, well, maybe fans are right. Listen, the end of the day, you can try to defend this rubbish. I'm glad it's out in the public domain now. And hopefully now this will get the fandom talking. But the only thing I will say to you, J-Bots, is this. Don't think for 1 second that you're going to be able to bully fans this time to shut them up when they start talking about this, because we're going to continue to talk about this and highlight it, because Chris Chibnall, Piers Wenger, Jodie Whittaker, and all the team need to go to save Doctor Who. The regime at BBC needs to be completely smashed as well. And, you know, there's the BBC right now, they're under a lot of pressure. And hopefully that pressure gives, because as soon as it does give and they have to stop when the TV license is abolished, then BBC will have to start making content that actually people enjoy. And, you know, that's, you know, I thought that wouldn't happen anytime soon, but it looks like it could happen. And hopefully it happens in the next few weeks. Maybe not in the next few weeks, but definitely in the next few months or year ahead. I hope BBC do have to change their game, because if they don't, this is going to continue, and they will replace Jodie Whittaker. Listen, I already said we've already got the 14th Doctor anyway. We've already met the 14th Doctor, especially with all this bull that's going on in the world. They'll just do it anyway. And don't be surprised. Listen, there's huge rumors floating about, especially in the world of people that do the rumor and obviously do the source information. There is rumors flying about right now at the moment about the TARDIS and its future. And I'm being honest with you, you know, normally when stuff like this comes up, you know, normally as fans, we kind of know which stuff to ignore and which stuff not to ignore. But this time I would say keep your ear to the ground on everything that you hear. All I'm just saying is not everything will be right, but it's going to be very interesting to see how much the TARDIS actually is going to feature when Series 13. Forget about the special, because the special was already filmed. So it'll be very interesting to see how much TARDIS actually appears in Series 13. Remember, we hardly had any TARDIS in Series 11. So he can very easily do it again. Guys, actually, just before we finish up on the panel, I just want to ask is our final opinion on actually the TARDIS itself. Obviously, we know what's going on in the world, and I don't want to get into a whole debate or what the whole racist issue and stuff. All I just want to talk about is the consequence of everything that's going on in the world right now, and let's talk about the TARDIS, the fact that it's a police. Right, Lee, we'll start with you first. Do you think, right, someone has YouTube on at the same time or something because there's a bit of interference? Right, Lee, what I was going to ask you is the TARDIS, the future of the TARDIS.
Well, I think if they don't remove it, then they're full of crap. Because if they're beholden to this ideology and they actually believe in all of this postmodernist wankery, and if they actually do support this message that has been handed to us by America, and by the way, America's a different country with different problems than us, just remember that, then I think you have to go the full logical conclusion of that. If you're not going to remove the police box, then you're full of shit. And I think that's very clear, very painfully clear, that if you can't stand by that principle that you've rammed down our throats for the last 3 years, then shut the fuck up or do it. End of.
Actually, that's a good point. I'm gonna actually tweet that. Well done. Thanks for giving me an idea for a tweet. But I'm actually gonna bring that up. Because there is a lot of fans, Doctor Who fans, as you know yourself, that wear the hashtag as some sort of badge of honor. And
well, they've painted themselves into a corner.
Other fans that don't use that hashtag. So if you're true to yourselves, Lee is actually right. If you're true to yourselves, why haven't you started a campaign to
do it and see what happens?
Have the TARDIS removed from Doctor Who? If
do it and see what happens. Yeah. I mean, if you do that, it's really over. But you've painted yourselves into a corner. If you don't follow through with this message, then you're full of shit.
Actually, you're right. You're actually right. You've backed yourselves into a corner now, folks. So, go and start campaigning the BBC. You don't like the police.
Remove the TARDIS.
Remove the TARDIS.
Remove the TARDIS.
Hashtag remove the TARDIS. Maybe we should act. Well done, Lee. Lee, talk to you after this show. Right, you hang on. Got an idea, and we always come up with great ideas. Right, but I'll ask the rest of them. I'll ask the rest of the panel. Wolf and the Storm and Charlotte and Poor Things are still here. Colin had to unfortunately leave us, and our Poor Things is still here. Are you still sober, pal?
I think he's collapsed into a heap. In a pile of Scottishness.
Well, listen, mate. Enjoy your drink. You've earned it. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Oh, you're here.
Am I no longer part of this?
Say that again.
You alive, mate.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I love this. It's very, very interesting.
All right. Yeah. I just asked you, were you drunk? It sounds like you're pissed now.
No, I love this. It's very, very interesting because I'm talking to the most wonderful people that are part of the Whovian experience. It's so really nice.
Thanks very much. The Wolf and the Storm, the TARDIS. What do you think?
Honestly, I'm surprised that the showrunners even care at this point what happens to the TARDIS, because it's gone from being a central core tenet of the show to hardly being there at all and relegated to background as a piece of machinery. Whereas the TARDIS was like the single most identifiable part of the show. Now it's like not even there. You can literally go through an entire episode without even seeing it. They don't really treat it with respect anyway. I'm surprised they even give a shit. I don't like the way the console room looks. It's so dark, you can't even see the console. It looks like a fucking cave. So yeah,
it's like a crystal shop in.
I can't stand it. I'm surprised she's even able to see anything on the console at all, because it is so dark and so claustrophobic. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
Smaller on the
remember when I
inside.
talked about them that they were going to actually do a little bit of an upgrade on that, and I was called a liar. And lo and behold, they actually did, and they lightened it up a little bit. But then it still looks crap.
Still
I have
fucking
to
awful.
say,
Yeah, because they've added a few
no
tea
offense to
lights,
the
mate.
poor boy
That's
that
all they've
actually
done.
designed it, but I know he was
So-
bitching at fans because of the lighting and saying, "Oh, it wasn't a true representation." But I'm sorry, mate. Right, your design is cat awful. Right, even Roots Doctor Tardis.
That's a gorgeous TARDIS.
Yeah, much better. Go ahead, Charlotte. Sorry.
But have they forgotten the fact that the ship is a character in and of itself? The ship
Yeah.
is alive. It's a sentient being, and
Yeah.
you're not treating it as such. You're treating it as just a piece. You're treating it as a prop, as a piece of machinery. So if you don't care about it as much as we do, then fine. Get the fuck rid of it. But if you do, you might as well take the name Doctor Who off your show, because it won't be Doctor Who anymore.
Exactly.
So just
Painted themselves into a corner.
I love this girl. She is so beautiful and wonderful.
Charlotte, go
I know.
ahead.
Well, if they do this, they are basically condemning our police. They are basically saying our police are something to be ashamed of, that they don't want to be associated with anymore, that the Doctor doesn't want to be associated with anymore, that it's a shameful thing for the Doctor. So if they do that, that is the message they are sending out. So I would love to see how the press would handle this if they do it, because I can now picture the headlines. Doctor Who condemns the police, because that's what they're doing by removing the TARDIS if they do it.
Yep.
And our police force, it's not perfect. I'm not daft enough to say it is, and I'm not an expert on it, but our police are not the same as American police. So to try and brush our police with the same issues that current groups have with their police is completely wrong.
The US is a different country, different problems,
And
different history.
remember is it Smile, when Bill looks at the sign on the TARDIS, and by the end she goes, "Oh, I understand what that sign is. You're the help. You're the person somebody calls for help. It's not the police." So they've already dealt with this issue of what the TARDIS represents. They've said it's not a police representation. It's the Doctor basically saying, "I'm the person that anybody in the universe can give a call to and I'll answer."
Yeah.
So it's not even got the police. It's been completely changed, the meaning of that image. It's not even police related anymore. And the show's even talked about this.
And it's an anachronism as well, because police boxes don't exist in our day and age anymore. I mean, they still do, but I mean not in use. Yeah.
So
it's more than just the call for help. It's more than just a ship. It's his home. It's the last, as Davros was so fond of saying, it's the last child of a lost planet. It's
his last piece of Gallifrey's, he used to say. It was the last piece of his home world.
Why is it so hard to treat it with that respect?
Yeah.
It's all he's got left.
You've got the Doctor's wife, and that's a lovely episode. And I always get teary when she says, "Oh, I want to say a word to you," and it takes her the whole episode. And then it's when she's basically died, she goes, "Oh, hello. I wanted to say hello," because she's got this massive connection with the Doctor, but she's never
it's a
been
psychic
able to
connection,
talk.
isn't it?
Yeah, I like that episode actually. I didn't know how I'd feel about it, because being, Doctor Who fan, you don't want to kind of know too much about the TARDIS and stuff like that, or as we said, the origins of the Doctor, or why he left Gallifrey. We just like little snippets, but nothing too much. But I have to say, this story worked. I really liked it, and
it explored the relationship and the importance, and that's what Wolf's getting at, and that's what I'm getting at. It's such an important personal thing to the Doctor. The Doctor, by saying they don't want that image anymore, is like doing a personal slight. Because they're personally either through accident or have a chip. If he does this, does it? The Doctor then is saying, I condemn that image.
Yeah.
And I think, you imagine being a police officer watching the show and seeing that.
Yeah.
That you're saying my job is to go out there and risk my life and protect people, and a show I love is saying I'm not. The doctor doesn't want to be linked with me anymore. The doctor wants to not have that image in association with them anymore.
Mm.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they tackle that, if they acknowledge that. But if there's pressure put on them, they'll have to deal with that.
Well, I'm just had to throw up me tweet, so that's going to cause an awful lot of controversy. Because for some weird reason, and listen, I just have to say, you know, I had someone send me a message request just to call me a dickhead, and then no, but listen, then that person was basically, now you can block me, and I was like, no. I was like, no, I won't block you. What, give you the satisfaction of saying, oh look, no, block me? No, if you're gonna act like an idiot like that, I won't block you. I like to have a little bit of fun with idiots like that. But listen, again, you know, you mightn't like the way I word things. You mightn't like the way I put my opinions across. Some of you will say that I tried to be controversial just to be controversial. No, it's the way I've always been. I'm upfront and straight with my opinions. You mightn't like it. Sometimes I do speak without actually thinking. The brain, you know, sometimes I should listen to the brain first. But you will always get an honest opinion here, and it'll always be raw. And if you don't like that, you can go and fuck yourself. It's as simple as that. I am sick and tired of the other side of the fandom trying to dictate what we can and cannot say in this fandom. If you don't like the way I word a tweet, so fucking what? I don't care. Don't come onto my page or onto the chat and say, oh, you're bullying poor this fella and you're bullying this fella because I retweet a tweet and I add my own opinion to it. I'm bullying someone. Listen, they put a tweet out in the public eye. I have every right as a Twitter person to respond to that if I feel like it. All right, that's what Twitter is there for. And if these people can't handle opinions that I throw out there, well, tough shit. That's just the way it is. I see that Mr. Tardis Reviews has decided to actually use my full name this time, so he was actually directing me quotably.
But that's not bullying, though. That's acceptable.
Exactly, right? So he can have his opinion, but I have every right to take that opinion of me that he's written and retweet that and add my own voice to that. Okay, that's how this works.
So right of reply.
I'm not bullying anybody. I'm sick of this whole thing. Oh, Tardis Zone's bullying people. Tardis Zone bullies women. Tardis Zone bullies me. I'm autistic. I'm this, that, and the other. I don't bully people. Yous come after me. Yous come after me friends, right? I ignore yous now, and that's what's annoying yous.
I saw one of the tweets you retweeted a few days back, and it was like, he's my arch enemy or something. It was just so full of bile, and it was just like, oh, is that really how interesting your life is?
Leader, as I keep saying, apparently I'm the leader of the Not My Doctor movement. I don't know how many times we have to tell you this. And I know you're only using the name.
They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, of course they are. We're, as we've already explained, you know, there is factions within this fandom, and some do go by the name Not My Doctor. We have nicknames for you, which is have embraced with lots. We have other names for you as well, but we use them privately. But also, there's the Not My Doctors, the Not My Doctor Who's. There's others out there that use similar hashtags. There's different factions, right? We did all use those hashtags at one time or another. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Of course I did. You know, but when we seen what was happening, you know, because there was a few incidents that we seen that weren't nice, and we were like, okay, this is starting to get a bit too toxic, and we distanced ourselves from both hashtags. Now, I have actually seen that someone that was part of the Not My Doctor Who hashtag has decided to latch on to this new one. Now, I think me and Lee need to make something very clear here. This hashtag is not a conventional hashtag. Do you know the way sometimes you use hashtags for movies to promote the movie? Well, that's what this hashtag is. There is no revolution. So people that have obtained this from the Not My Doctor side that are now using this hashtag, all I will just say to you is this hashtag is not, because there is no revolution. The revolution already happened when 7 million households walked away from the show. We've already won. They just don't know it yet. Okay? Or they do know it, and that's why they're lashing out. But I don't know why you're using that hashtag to promote your propaganda. At the end of the day, we disavow any of the stuff that comes out of the Not My Doctor Who side. So if you see any of them using that hashtag, you know, we do not condone what they say or do, because one of them in particular I won't mention, but decided that it was okay to go to the cast and post petitions and stuff like that. So we don't want to listen. Our focus is Chris Chibnall and Piers Wenger, as we said. We're going to be doing this Revolutions of the Whovians stream. This hashtag was basically to promote that. The J-Bots picked it up. Their plan worked absolutely wonderfully well. It couldn't have worked any better. That's why me and Lee were laughing so much, because we couldn't believe how clean and how actually well it actually
We
was.
should work for the Ministry of Truth.
Yeah. So, I mean,
on their side.
As I said, that hashtag is now being used by some people out there. I don't care that the J-Bots are using it, they're promoting their stream. But there's other factions within this fandom that we don't like that are using this hashtag. In no way do we condone what they say, or no way do we support what they say. We have our own ways of doing things on this channel.
Do you know what someone said? Someone actually said, it was one I was talking to, negotiating a ceasefire. And he said, "Oh, we're adopting this hashtag as something for ourselves and to make it a positive thing, obviously, because we're not positive about anything apparently." And then someone used that hashtag, and immediately underneath it said, "Fuck Noel" hashtag. You know, it was just like, oh yeah, that's really positive.
Yeah, and that's my point. You know, so I mean, look, you can do the J-Bots you're doing us a favor, but as I said, there's a side of this fandom that I have a problem with. You know that they were actually, you know, we were friends with some of them. It is actually not nice when you have to actually call out some friends, but there's been some deplorable behavior over this whole month and a half, let's say, and some people have crossed the line. And you know, some of these people now are using this hashtag, and all I just want to say to the other side is just we're letting you know out straight. We do not condone anything that they do, or any of their actions, or any of their tactics. We have our own ways of doing things on this channel, including the people that support me and the YouTubers that are on this panel. We do things our way. We don't get into the little nitty and gritty like what's been going on Twitter. We don't get involved in personal disputes with cast members and stuff like that. That's not what we do. You know, you have to draw a line somewhere. And, you know, as I said, for me, after that incident, I've been saying all along, and Lee has been here from the very beginning, he'll tell you as well, I've been saying that the focus should be on Chris Chibnall and Piers Wenger. That's where all the problems lie. And once we focus on them, you know, and start, like that panel did, start talking about the stuff like that, like the cancer scene and like all the other crap that he put in it, and we keep highlighting that, you know, we have to, you know, we can put pressure. Listen, we might be small in numbers on Twitter, but we did something amazing, right? Now, I know I keep harping on about this, but I don't think fans realize actually how big this was, right? That poll should have been won by the J-Bots. I remember even Lee saying to me, and Lee will back me up on this, Lee says, "No, this will be one that you'll probably have to take on the chin," right? What did I say to you in reply?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I've got
I'll tell you what I said in
that
reply.
asked me to remember.
I says, yeah. I says, no, I'm not taking this one on the chin. They're not going to rig this. Basically, I said, there's no way it's going to happen. And it didn't. It didn't. We won. And listen, but here's the most dramatic thing about this. They would have used multiple accounts. They shared it amongst all their friends, right? We know how powerful they are because we've seen it. They can get hashtags trending. We know that, right? It was 97% to the Timeless Child. William Hartnell was on 3. At this time, Ruth's doctor actually had no votes at that stage. So it was a landslide with 600 odd votes. Yeah. And he won. So I don't think people realize actually how big that actually was to win a poll on Twitter like that when they clearly set out to rig it, when they clearly were petty enough to come in just to piss me, because that I even showed the tweets. They said the only reason why they voted was to piss me off, right? And it backfired. And
yeah, they were quite willing to
shit
throw
all over
Hartnell like that. Yeah. I mean, if you're a real true Whovian, could you imagine anyone, like even just a few years ago, throwing William Hartnell under the bus like that to make a point, a personal attack? Really? Exactly. Come on.
Here's the thing, though, that I found interesting, and I think the longer the show's off air, from when they try and do a bit more drip feed of the arc, the more people are going to sit and think, actually, no, let's think through this. Let's logically go through this. The longer this sits with people, the more people are going to turn against it.
Exactly.
Because they haven't got any more information, so they're trying to process it of their own thinking. And if you try and...
bearing in mind, a lot of people who support this era are those who do so because if they don't, they see what happens to people like Noel who speak out against it, and they go, "Fuck that! I don't want to be that." I'll go along and say, "Yeah, I love Jodie Whittaker. Oh yeah, look at me. I love her. And it's really, really, do they? I don't know. I think most of it is.
Do I like being enemy number one to these fans? No. But will I carry that burden to make sure that our message is put across? Yes, because I believe it's important, and I believe that we shouldn't be silenced, and we won't be silenced as long as I'm around. That fans will have a voice. I will promote any new channel that comes on that adds to that voice, adds to that cause. Listen, at the end of the day, what I would say to you, Jodie Whittaker fans, is you have one more season of you as a doctor. Enjoy it while you can. Because it might well be the final series. I just don't see it going anywhere fast if they keep her on, to be honest. And if we do keep her on, I wouldn't be celebrating because you have put the final nail in the coffin, because it will not. See, this is what I'm saying. There's a window of opportunity right now. If she does one more season and goes, there's a window of opportunity to save this show. If they keep her on for series 14, that window is gone. It's gone. It will not survive past the 60th. After the 60th, that'll be it. It'll be done. Doctor Who will be shelved, and we won't see it again. That's it. So they've got a small window. Go ahead, though. But they do have a small window of opportunity to turn this all around. And I do truly believe that it's done. But as I said, if they were to pick the right showrunner, different regime at the BBC, and pick the right person to play the Doctor and the right companions, and I'll give the first episode a go, see how it goes, and if the story is better than that we got, well then I'll give it a go. But it's going to be very hard for those 7 million households that walked away. It's going to be very hard to win the normie back over, and that's what the new showrunner will have a hard job doing. And Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, especially Chris Chibnall, what a disaster. I mean, whoever comes in to fix his mess, and even if they look, if someone would probably come in and say, "Listen, I'm not going to fix his mess. We're just going to pretend it doesn't exist and continue on." To be honest, I think that's the only way to go, because trying to explain.
No, that's not good enough. It has to go. It has to be retconned out of existence. Otherwise, you're just not going to win back the hardcore.
They won't. They're afraid.
No, you got to take.
I know they won't.
Like, you got to take the best option, and that's literally what Noel said. Just to go. Yeah, we won't deny it, but we won't talk about it.
That won't work for me.
It's like the movie. Everybody knows the movie exists.
That's
You know.
nothing in comparison to.
I know.
I mean, that was a boom, but this is a.
I know.
This is a
No,
nuke.
but I'm just trying to make.
I know.
give an
But
example.
it won't win me back. It won't win me back.
You know, the funny thing, the hilarious thing is that they think that a few bullying tweets is really going to be enough to make us back down. I know that most, if not all of us, are old enough to have been in fandom in one form or another for decades. This ain't our first rodeo.
Yeah, I was bullied at school for being a Whovian.
Yeah.
And I survived that. I can survive this.
We've been through fandom wars on top of fandom wars. We've seen some shit, and we're still here. Trust me, we can take it.
Right.
Come back swinging.
We've kind of sadly came to the end of time, but we do have a super sticker by Kip Ellis. It's a 149 super sticker. I don't know what it is. I'm sure someone.
Brie Larson pony.
Oh, okay.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. Okay. So, but before we do go, I'll give you guys all the opportunity to give you our channels a bit of a plug there and let us know what you have up and coming. Lee, I don't really need to ask you.
Well, you can just follow me at Being Problem on Twitter. Go and check out the Wolf and the Storm stream we did together a couple of days ago. That's a nice little chat. That's about it.
There you go. And we got the Wolf and the Storm actually next to plug our channel. So double plug there. Well done, Lee. So go ahead, Wolf and the Storm. What else have you got coming on your channel?
Yeah, if you guys want to listen to me ranting more about Doctor Who or having these fabulous conversations with my fellow friends, come and visit me on the Wolf and the Storm on YouTube or on Twitter, Wolf and Storm 78.
Nice one. And we've got Charlotte.
I don't have anything to plug. You'll see me in the chat, and I might pop up on panels or other things. I don't really have a channel, and I don't, even though Daniel keeps saying I should, because he won't stop saying it. But no, you'll see me in chat mostly.
No problem. Right. Well, that's fair enough. But you can catch Charlotte here on the chat, and you might catch her on Daniel's channel the odd time as well, and other chats as well. And I'm afraid to ask, because we haven't heard his voice in a while. I hope he's still alive and with us. But Poor Things, have you got a YouTube channel you would like to plug?
Oh dear. He's fallen unconscious.
I think he's well truly pissed.
Right. And with that, folks, I'd just like to thank everybody in the chat for joining me tonight. When Vader says, well done, all great stream. Thank you very much. And if you did think it was a great stream, do me a favor, actually, because I do think this was actually a very interesting stream. We did actually talk a little bit about what Chibnall has done. So do me a favor, guys. Share this on any social media platform that you can, any Doctor Who group that you're in as well, if you don't mind. Of course, we will get some people in the comments saying, "Oh, it's 3 years, get over it." You know, that line.
It's not the 3 years anyway. It's the legacy of those 3 years.
Exactly. But it's like talking to a wall, it's talking to people. But listen, thank you everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you all contributing, and everybody that gave us a super chat. Thank you, moderators. Well done. I see that you have thrown up everybody's channels. I see there the Holics is up there, Blue Bonnets. Have you put the panels up though?
Yeah, he has.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Yeah, he has. Well done, Daniel. You're on the ball tonight, aren't you? He says he's on the ball. There he goes. Yeah. Blue Bonnet there, the Holics again. Okay.
George Gallifrey has passed out, says Kip Ellis.
Probably.
George Gallifrey. I love that.
Yeah.
Also, it's lovely to chat with you, Wolf.
And you, Charlotte. It's been a long time due.
It was great having you all on, guys. I really appreciate you coming on.
Great to have them back on as well.
We'll definitely do it again. of course, we will have that big stream. That's when it will happen. It's just we're not going to tell you when it happens. That's the whole point. We just keep using the hashtag, as I said, because there will be people out there that will be wondering what the hashtag is all about. You know, I mean, the other side can say what they want. Obviously, if they come back and watch, they will find that the origins of that hashtag was actually brought up by Lee on this channel, actually, in one of the chats, Revolution of the Whovians. So, every hashtag actually that's recently been out there that's being used has come from Lee being on this channel. He always pops up with an idea when he's here. But that's probably the best one. And do you know what? I actually have to say, I just, that whole hashtag thing was just, it's fantastic. I still have a smile on my face anyway. It was the best troll ever.
It was so meta. I think that's the thing. It was so under the radar, and they just sucked it up. It was great.
Yeah, and you know what? It's about time that this side of the fandom felt a little bit good for a while, and it certainly has. But listen, we're going to be concentrating now on doing these type of things. As I said, no more messing now with them. They're done. As far as I'm concerned, you know, trolling them twice and actually, 3 times, and then, you know, doing the hashtag as well. I think that's enough. You know, enough trolling. You know, we exposed them. I mean, imagine though, right? Because, you know, and I have to admit, this poll was made a couple of days before my poll finished, right? So they decided to do their own poll to try and sabotage. So they wrote it up exactly the same way. And I think the whole idea of it was they shared that poll everywhere to try and confuse people voting for their poll instead of my poll. And even on the poll that they have themselves, I think there was like 11% of people voted William Hartnell.
Oh dear.
And I was like, and you know what? There was like something 87 votes or something. So it's not as if our side was going over because we're not that petty.
You still won.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, who gives a crap? But,
and we still won, even though they tried to send more people our way, and not one did. In fact, we got an extra vote from on our side. So I think it's just so disrespectful, though, just to do that.
Yeah,
to you, though. That's
that's
just,
why. Yeah, that's why I thought it was petty. Charlotte has seemed to jump out of the chat.
You know, it's bad enough that they're trying to bring the actors into their argument.
They even tweet at the actors saying, "Can you join us to say fuck no?"
In one of my last videos, someone tried to tell me that what I'm saying, that David Tennant would be disappointed in what I'm saying. I'm like, keep his name out of your mouth, because first of all, you don't know what he's thinking in private, despite what he might say in public. You forget. The man is an actor. He has a family, and he has to think of his livelihood and his family first. Just because he's promoting the show and Jodie in public doesn't mean that's necessarily what he thinks in private. And
well, we know that Peter Davison, who's his father-in-law, must have had some interesting chats, and we know his opinion. He was against it. So I would love to be a fly on the wall.
It wouldn't be a far stretch of the imagination, though, to actually conclude that David Tennant probably agrees with his father-in-law.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, David Tennant understands his role, and he does. We watched that HBO Max video. Look, that guy understands the role. He does not like this. He doesn't. I'm telling you, even Matt Smith had a little go when he mentioned the specials. Listen, have you noticed, though, right before we finish up, right, that panel at Con had a bit of a swipe. And then at the HBO Max video, the launch, Matt Smith and David Tennant both had little swipes at Chris Chibnall. So I'm telling you now, they aren't happy about this. It's
George
so bloody obvious. Listen, you see George Lucas's face when he was at those premieres. It's so bloody obvious. These guys are not happy. They're not. Their legacies have been shot all over. Why would they be happy? You know, you're basically saying every other doctor before Jodie Whittaker was toxic. because then we got that whole little, human nature girl. She releases human nature girl because, oh, sorry for all the other doctors for being bad white males. But here I am, a woman, and I'm going to save you, even though you're a murderous killer.
Mm.
Yeah, get away. I'm done with this. Done with Chris Chibnall. He's a hack. But we will be doing more streams like this because I do believe that a lot more fans have plenty of things to say about Chris Chibnall and his writing. And if there are some things that we haven't brought up tonight, because obviously we couldn't cover everything that has happened in the Chris Chibnall era, but there are certainly a lot of plot holes. Now, of course, the other side have already said, but there's plot holes in classic era and on the rewrote canon and all this crap, the usual, right? But again, we will address those issues and we will have our point of view on it, and we will get some of this panel back anyway. There was a few technical issues with some of the others, but we'll definitely get the rest is on. I hope Poor Things hasn't passed out. I'd be.
Well, it's probably happily passed out, so
Well,
hopefully
it's a happy pass out.
I'd be doing fall asleep with a fag in his mouth or something.
But as I said, we will be covering a lot more of these issues because that panel has actually opened a lot of fans' eyes, and I do believe that we should concentrate on those issues so we keep it in the public domain, so the BBC don't try to quieten it up, or because we've already seen the Commons are disabled, so they're already trying to actively quieten up. It'll be very interesting to see how long that video actually stays up as well, by the way. So they might actually ask for it to be taken down. So if someone is a editing expert, if you could get the first 4 minutes of that video, I think it's 3.5 altogether, but if you get the first 3.5 minutes of that video, that would be absolutely fantastic, because I've got a funny feeling BBC are going to pull that. I
don't think they can. But even if they do, I mean, it's
damning. It's very damning. It's very damning.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is
very damning. And that's
that poll result at the end. I mean, come on, that was so clearly.
Of course it was, but we never find out about these polls. So why?
No, I didn't vote in it.
In the loop all the time. Where was this announced that there was going to be a poll that we could vote on?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Any poll where Jodie is or where the 13th Doctor is within the top 3, and David Tennant and Tom Baker aren't there,
hidden from us.
Is immediately suspect.
Exactly. Don't take it serious. That's it. I joined. Someone please bloody explain how Jodie. Yeah, I know, Marty. We could go on forever about it, but we've sadly come to the end of tonight's live stream. I am back on. What's it? Wednesday now. What day is it today? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, so I'm back. I don't know if I have anybody ask me to do a stream.
Oh, Charlotte says night, everyone. Thank you all for the nice comments.
No problem, Charlotte. I was about to say good night to you as well. But thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on. I'm sorry you got hit on.
Oh yeah, that was funny. You dealt with that lovely.
Yeah, but he was lovely. He was nice. He was
just a bit tipsy, I think.
Yeah.
I took that one with a grain of salt because you're right. He was a bit tipsy. So
I thank him for coming on. I really enjoyed him coming on. But listen, thank you all. Thursday in Australia, says Chris. Well done to the Australians.
Living in the future, like you do.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Living in the future. So tell us, is it going to be bad?
That's another thing that I keep wondering. If they get rid of the TARDIS, how the fuck is she going to get around?
Oh, they'll change it into something else. Maybe
they'll change it into a bloody, I don't know. It'll probably be fucking a camper van painted in rainbow colors.
Portaloo.
I mean, they can't pull off the whole she gets appropriated by UNIT to work for them like they did with the third Doctor, because UNIT's gone now. So
well, unless you bring UNIT back as an excuse, but again, I don't want that to happen. Listen, the Christmas special or the festive special is coming up, and I need to ask you guys a question because this was actually brought up on a stream that I was on. Now you all know how I feel about this, but as I've been pointed out, yous are the audience. So the question I have to ask is this: do you want me to review this festive special? And then if the answer is yes, do you also want me to review Series 13? Now, remember, you guys are obviously my audience. So as Rabbi and a couple of other people have said, the other guys, I think it was Ian Mega Geek actually said it. You guys are supposed to be there to watch it for us, for the people that don't watch it, to keep us informed. And that is a good point. Now, you know me personal feelings. If I had me way, I wouldn't be doing this at all. I still haven't changed my opinion. But I will leave it to you guys because it is a democracy. And because I do believe that, I should leave it up to you guys. I shouldn't just make that decision without you, actually. And I shouldn't have. So if you guys want me to review this crap, if you know me, you know what to do. But of course, some
I'd say you've got Rabbi who's going to be watching it anyway.
Well, I do
for your
agree.
own sanity.
I'm not being smart, but everybody, like Rabbi will review it. But let's be honest, everybody loves when me, Rabbi, and a panel get on and rant about this even more.
It's entirely up to you. I won't be watching. I much prefer the idea of, on the day that it's airing, to be watching another Doctor Who Christmas special.
So a couple of people have said because we don't want to watch it, and some
no.
Yeah. See, this is what
solidarity there, guys. Well done.
I do what I did actually before I do leave. I have a poll, 2 polls. I have a poll up on Twitter and I have a poll up on on YouTube's community section. Right.
You decide to review it. You shouldn't have to do it alone. No one should have to take that.
No, I'll bring a panel on. Hold on. If we do this, I'm going to do it in the style that we did the last ones. We did a panel for Series 12. So I'll bring you on for the panel. And obviously...
Yeah, but for me, you got to give me a chance because I don't have the same access to it that you guys do.
Oh, no. Listen. Rabbi, we'll make sure that you get connected. Trust me, you'll be fine.
Because I can get the British link, but I won't be able to get it till at least 5 hours after it's already.
No. We'll figure out a way for you. Because trust me, we had a couple of Americans on the panel that were able to come on and do the review with us. We'll figure that out for you. Don't worry. Leave it with us. We always have ways.
I will suffer with you.
I don't know if Gary is going to watch it, to be honest, Rossi, G12. Actually, I'd have to ask him that. But as I said, right, I have 2 polls. So I've asked the question, what we're having a surprise watch along on Friday. So it's Irish comedy. Yeah. I wanted to do a bit of comedy from me home country. As ourselves. Bring a bit of Irish comedy to the world. Heck, arse drink. or the Derry Girls. Right, I have to be honest. On both polls on Twitter, right, this is how it went at first. On YouTube, Father Ted was winning, and on Twitter, the Derry Girls was winning. But now that's completely flipped. The Derry Girls is now losing on both polls, so it looks like by polls end, it's going to be a landslide for Father Ted.
Got to be.
So they're 20-minute episodes. So we normally do 2.5 hour, 3 hour stream. So we might do a watch along of the first season of Father Ted. So if you have your DVDs of Father Ted, there is. I hope some of you actually do. Come and join me, and we'll be doing a watch along with me watching Father Ted.
And here I was hoping you would include Mrs. Brown's Boys. That shit's hysterical.
It is, and I was gonna put that in, but to be honest with you, if I had a choice between Father Ted or Mrs. Brown's Boys, it's Father Ted.
There's no competition.
There's no, yeah. Like Mrs. Brown Boys is good for what it is, but like, look, I like Brendan O'Carroll. I'm glad that he has success in England and now in America because of this show. But Mrs. Brown's Boys, we had that show over here 25, 30 years ago when he was first starting out. It was a radio program thing. So
You get to do a watch along with Dylan Moran as well.
Yeah, so I mean, we were used to that. So to us, this is old hat. To the English PR, they love it, but it's old hat to us. You know, I mean, it's getting a bit boring for us now. But Father Ted, come on, drink, thick arse.
I have to take your word.
Have you not seen it?
We don't have that kind of access over here.
Oh.
I can get a lot of English stuff. I can get English stuff as the day is long, but Irish stuff is a little more difficult.
Well, try and find it. It's brilliant. It's really funny. It's the ultimate in Irish humor. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is indeed. Right, guys, we're gonna finish up. Keep voting in the polls if you haven't already. But yeah, I will at some stage over the weekend throw those polls up. We've got plenty of time. Let me know if you want to review all this abomination.
Just call it a hate watch, because that's what it is.
No, but here's the thing. No. I have to be honest.
I just don't want to give them ratings numbers.
But if I go in and watch it, I will go in and watch it with an open mind, because I have to. Because if I don't, and if I just hate watch this, it won't be fair. I have to give it its fair go, like I've done with every other episode. I don't expect any miracles, to be quite honest with you. I think it's absolutely going to be rubbish anyway. But if people want me to do it, I'll do it. But you all know how I personally feel, so I hope you all like me enough to actually say no. But I will say this, though. Lee does make the point. There's going to be other YouTubers that are going to review this, and I'll just feel like if we don't do it, we'll probably regret it. So I don't know. I mean,
I think you might regret it more if you watched it.
I mean,
That's how I feel about it.
I'll have to literally, beg.
See how you feel on the day. But personally, I'd much rather be watching it.
I'll have to beg people to come onto the panel. So, I mean, beg people. Yeah, I think you could stream Father Ted on all 4 in the UK. Yeah, I
think it's on Netflix, actually, as well. In the UK.
You might be able to get it in the Netflix, the UK.
It might be. I don't know if it's on American Netflix, but maybe you can have a look and find out.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm not taking the bullet yet until the votes and the polls go out, because I really don't want to do it.
Don't blame you.
But if I'm asked to do it, I'll do it, because at the end of the day, it's not just my channel; it's your channel as well. I mean, I wouldn't be here without you guys. So I suppose it's only right that you get to choose some of the stuff that we do on this channel, isn't it? Right. With that, I'm going to say goodnight to Problem Being and the Wolf in the Storm. And I'm going to say goodnight to everybody in the chat. Thank you to all my moderators. We'll be back on Friday for that. It looks like it's going to be Father Ted. Unless there's some complete miracle and the Derry Girls can turn it around. But I doubt that very highly. So Father Ted. And then on Saturday, we've got Classic Who watch along.
Planet of Fire.
Planet of Fire.
Hashtag who likes short shorts?
Do you like short shorts?
No, who likes short shorts?
No. You keep changing the hashtag.
No. It was always who likes short shorts.
Well, he changed it on the hashtag. He changed it on the video.
No, it's because it's who Doctor Who likes short shorts.
Right.
That's why.
Well, the trailer says something different.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I'm just
give that rabbi a damn good earful.
Right, unless I'm looking at it wrong. But I'm sure. No, because
I'll be having words.
It doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't really. Yeah, so Planet of Fire. That's Lee's choice, of course. And then we have New Who on Sunday. What's Sunday's episode? We've got
Idiot's Lantern.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Oh.
That's a good episode. I like that episode.
I like that one. You don't like that
one? Right. Yeah. Right. So we've got that on Sunday. And then by Monday, then all of this crap that's happened with the panel will probably have reached fever pitch, and we'll have plenty to discuss. Because trust me, this ain't going away now. The fact that panel literally in 3 minutes obliterated Chris Chibnall's story, origin story, is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I've been
watch it, yeah.
I've been saying it since that episode dropped, and to finally hear other people come out and actually say what I've been saying actually is some vindication on my be happy because I thought, you know what, I was kind of thinking, am I the only one that thinks this? Because even when I was writing it up, very few people were agreeing with me. You know, or people like you said, Lee. I think there's a few people. There's a lot more people scared than we actually believe because all of a sudden now there's people piping up all over the place, and of course the other people on the other side don't like me again. That's never going to change.
Shocker.
Listen. As I keep saying, you just don't have to like what I say, but you are going to keep coming onto my account and acting like little twats. I'm going to keep retweeting your tweets, and you know that's not bullying, by the way. For some of you out there,
if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Exactly.
Definitely.
You know what? Do us all. Just leave social media. Leave the fandom alone. And
go and find something else to destroy.
Yeah, come on. I say there's plenty more franchises now you can destroy now. You know, where else is there? Let me see. Where else could you destroy? Let me pick a franchise that I don't actually like. Or I'd like to see destroyed. See, I can't think of one because they were all gone.
Handmaid's Tale.
Real sexist, right? It's all about men and cars, right?
There you go.
The Fast and the Furious franchise. Go for it.
Oh, there we are.
There you go. But you have a problem there because the cast in that throughout the whole 7 movies is very diverse. And a lot of strong females as well, which is what we care about. That they're the wrong strong kind, though, aren't they? Because even strong females, like strong men, depend on men or women. Do you know what's that famous saying? Behind every great man, there's an equally great woman. That is so true. It's reverse as well. Behind every great woman, there's probably equally a great man behind that woman. It's just that's you know. I don't know what the point I was trying to make there. I was trying to be end on a clever note there. Well, I mean, I think everybody gets the point that I'm trying to make. You know, it's all bullshit.
Great people are great people.
That's it. No matter their gender. If they have a willy, good for them. If they have rashers, good for them. Who gives a crap? Right? They get this is what I say. You get the best person for the job. As simple as that. And that's the way it was up until about 2014. And then after that, things changed. It became
say no to mediocrity.
Yeah, it became all about ideology and personal beliefs and the gender of that person, and now
anti-intellectual.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to shut up now because I keep doing it. But yeah, right, we're done. Anybody got any final words on the panel? I just want
to cancel Noel.
Yeah, and hashtag don't forget revolution of the Whovians to promote the hashtag. And by the way, Lee has done some nice little poster. I have put that up on my Twitter account. If you would like to share that poster with the hashtag, you know, I think we have to kind of make it clear now to the little
darlings
and all these other idiots out there that's actually a hashtag to promote a stream, because there's some using it for other intentions. Not the J-bots, the other people that I was talking about. And it doesn't sit well with me because we don't agree with their tactics, and it's a shame, you know, that
it's a two-edged sword. You just take the rough.
Yeah, but it's just goes to show you how sad that person is. I won't mention them, but it is sad. You steal one, and then like that person has to change their YouTube channel. Then you come in, then you try take another one, and you're not even part of this movement. You have your own beliefs and your own ideology on it that I don't necessarily agree with. Some of the things I do, but you're too, you go too far. There's a line and you crossed it, and I'm done. Right, and with that, we're done. Kip, Super John, Time Mechanic Disaster Area. These are the people that I can see on the screen. Good night, and good night to my moderators, Daniel, Daniel, Super John, Chris. I don't know who else. Lee was here. He was in the chat for a sec, so we'll just say thanks, Lee, even though you're here and not doing your job. Okay.
Unpaid labor. Slavery. Lives matter.
And Wolf of the Storm, thank you very much. Been an absolute pleasure having you on, and we will get you on again. Of course, I'll give you a bit of notice the next time. As you said,
Okay.
I'll give notice to everybody the next time. Don't worry, because sometimes I just throw up streams and I just say, "Come on, come in, come on board." You know, do what you want.
Just one last thing, the J-bots and all the people that want to destroy this fandom, you might have forgotten the Doctor's promise, but we haven't. Hashtag never give up, never give in.
Yeah, and we won't. We'll protect Hartnell's legacy until we breathe our last breath. And that's why this poll result was so great, because the fans on our side for once, not for once, but this was one occasion where we needed our side to stand up and to be counted, and you did. And as I said on Facebook, I said to people, I said, you ought to be proud of yourselves, and I'm proud of this fandom, and I am. I'm proud of every single person that shared that poll, that voted in that poll, that even replied to the other side when they were trying to basically rig the poll just to piss me off. Thank you all.
We subverted expectation.
The thing about it is, though, as I said, and it does annoy me, when this fandom is really called upon to do something, and it just proves, and this is what the other side should fear, right? This proves once and for all, when the fandom is really pushed, when they're motivated enough, they will come out for a common cause and do something. And this is why this was good, but it annoys me at the same time, because I'm kind of saying to myself, well, why aren't we like this every day? Why aren't we standing up to these people every day, letting these people know that we are the majority of the fandom, and that they're just a vocal minority that do not represent this fandom? If we just did this a lot more, we would get a lot further. I'm not saying we change BBC policy or anything like that, but they would hear us a lot more. They would hear us a lot more, and they wouldn't be able to dismiss us as quickly as they do. We need more voices. I said this last week, the week before, I've been saying it for 2 years. We need more voices in this fandom. So it's good to see when we get the Wolf and the Storm coming in, introducing ourselves to the fandom. We share that channel around everywhere. I even did it. I shared it all over Facebook, the whole lot. That's our goal, to get more people in this fandom, more voices, and make sure that they stay and hang around. That's why it's important to sub to all these channels and show support, to let people know that content creators like the Wolf and Storm, like me, like Gary, like all the others that have been on this channel in the past, you know, that we're the ones that you guys listen to and trust. You know, I mean, look at, I've not once have I been disingenuous with any of my opinions on this channel. Never will be. I've never had an agenda, even though I've been accused of having an agenda, but that's what the other side always say. You have to have an agenda. Noel has an agenda against Jodie Whittaker. Noel has an agenda against Chris Chibnall, all because I disagree with what they're doing with Doctor Who. And we've got to change. And another thing as well, we've got to change the perception of our side to the rest of the fandom that's out there. Because even people that don't agree with the J-bots and their tactics, we still do have people on so-called ardent fans that will attack me because of what the other side are saying. We've got to change how these people, the normies, think about us. I mean, it's on Facebook the other day, in a group that I've been in for ages, and all of a sudden, I put up one of my videos. It was, which one was it? It wasn't that bad. I think it was just a panel we were talking about. Actually, it was the other panel the other night. And then someone wrote up why don't you take your poisonous, it was something along the lines of, why don't you take your poisonous propaganda out of here and your dirty little channel, blah, blah.
Propaganda. You want to talk propaganda? Just look at series 11 and 12. That's propaganda, sweetheart.
Exactly. But it looks like the bad name that I'm getting, the bad reputation is spreading all over social media. And that is, in a way, look at, do I give a shit? No. Because if my family were to see stuff like that, they know what I'm like anyway, so they wouldn't believe it for 1 second, or my friends or acting like that. But the thing about it is that these people seem to have a free reign to go around and spread lies and do all this thing without being. And then when they get pulled up on it, what happens? Lee, what happens when they get pulled up on it? Because we see this a lot. Tell our audience, what happens when they get pulled up on it? What do they do?
Well, they block you, and then they unblock you, and then they come back and say one last stab, which they couldn't think of in minutes. So then they come back, have one last final word, and then block you again. Usually, that's my experience.
Multiple death threats, right?
Oh, the death threats. So that's part of the course.
Right.
That's normal for them.
Wife has been the target. They've even there's been horrible, disgusting comments made about me daughter. Horrible comments made in relation to me wife. Horrible comments made in relation to me and Rabbi. Right, this has been going on for 3 years, and as the Wolf in the Storm said, we've been through a few rodeos in our time. I've been through it all. You aren't getting me off. Seriously, you are not getting me off Twitter, and you aren't getting me off YouTube. So the best thing for you guys to do, as I said, is enjoy Jodie Whittaker while she's still in the role, because as soon as she's gone, and as soon as the propaganda that BBC are ramming down their throats, when they realise that this is futile and they actually have to change course again, when they do that, then God help you. God help us, because when this.
Well, let's see. It could go even worse, and that'll be it. That'll be it. That will be the end. No one will want to tune in anymore at all. I mean, they're already tuning out. So
yeah,
it's up to the BBC. Do you want an audience or don't you? End of.
That's it, and that's the choice to be.
And is this the audience you want, who are going to hold you to account until you screw up so badly at some point where you offend them, and then they're going to attack you as well? Because that's what they will do. They will never be satisfied. You'll fail the purity test at some point, and then they'll come after you. So BBC, who is more difficult? Us? I don't think so. Yeah, we can be pretty.
Actually, that's the wrong question to ask, Lee.
Go on.
The question that you should be asking the BBC is, who is more valuable to you right now?
Who's buying your shit? Who's buying your merchandise?
And
Who?
to be honest with you, if you look throughout the 56 years, 57 this year, is it 57 this year? It's 57 this year, isn't it?
57, yeah.
Yeah, 57. And in November it'll be 58.
Right. So the fandom, right, 57 years. You don't get to 57 years if you don't have a core fandom, which BBC have abandoned right now. So BBC, that's the question, Lee, and everybody should be asking.
Well, what they don't understand is, okay, for it to last that long, it's because you've got parents who raise their children and get them watching it. If you have a generation of parents who aren't doing that because they've switched it off or the kids are bored with it, and they are, you won't have another generation coming into it because they're not interested. They're more interested in playing their computer game. You're not going to get that audience. The only way you get that audience is by keeping the old fans still engaged, because it's them raising their families who will be bringing in the next generation.
And also, the old fans are always going to have one or two problems with what a showrunner does.
Yeah, of course, we always do.
But what you must do is what you mustn't do is you mustn't then go and say, well, you're wrong, or attack those fans. Or,
well, look, they did that. They did that already with the pitiful responses from the BBC to the complaints that were made. They just absolutely dismissed it.
I know.
It was not even a single apology.
Listen, 3 statements full of bullshit, Lee.
Yeah.
What it was. And with that, I'm definitely gone, because we're near the 4-hour mark. I do this 3 o'clock, or 3 hours in, I say I'm going to say good night, and it becomes this 43-minute rant, and I am done for the night anyway. We'll have plenty to talk about. I will have Lee again guesting over the weekend. I better not forget that because I forgot the last time and I was reminded. So it's classic Who Watch Along, yes, just to get it right. So Lee will be joining me with Rabbi, and hopefully then we might have Balstrick. We don't know, but he did say he would, have another Carden story. So that would be good after the watch along if he does come on and give us another Karen story. But Wolf and the Storm, thanks for joining us. Listen, if you're available on Sunday for the new Who watch along, there's an invite there. You're more than welcome to come on.
Hey, I live in the US. I ain't got nothing but time.
Right, no problem. Well, what I'll do is I will send you the link, or I'll get Lee or something to say, because it seems to be easier if he does it, or Rabbi. I'll get one of them to send you the link, and you can join us on Sunday.
I just got to make sure to do something to make sure the kids are occupied.
Right, well, yeah. If you can't do Sunday, Saturday, you can join the classic, but that's a bit longer, so it's up to yourself anyway. The new Who one is only 45 minutes. So it's up to yourself, but just let me know when you're available anyway, and we'll get you on.
Oh, I'll definitely. Sunday is good.
No
I don't know
problem.
what I could contribute to the classic. I didn't really watch a lot of the classic, and I don't have those episodes.
That's no problem. No problem. Well, maybe we might get you in the chat when we do one of the classic ones, and see if it might get you to then go.
Ignite your passions.
Yeah, ignite your passion for classic Who. It can happen. It can happen. Right, I'm gonna go. The Super John said he's watching the Planet of Fire video. Thank you. I did throw the trailer up. It's up on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, the usual places. If you haven't checked it out, Rabbi does put a bit of effort into them. So, go and give it a comment. Let them know how good they are, will you? Because nobody actually does. Well, actually, few years do, but it'd be nice to see a few more comments there from people. Just let him know that his work is appreciated, because I really do appreciate the trailers that he does. He takes time out of his day to do them. But he's got a head start now for these next couple of weeks, so he has no excuse though. Rabbi, we love him. Rabbi is going to be silent for a while now because he was telling me for the next 24 hours or something, there's some, he was explaining it to me. I'm very bad at this, but some Jewish thing.
Religious holiday.
Yeah, religious holiday. So he'll be out of contact for a while. So, yeah. So good luck with that, Rabbi. Love the Rabbi.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. And we'll have Father Miller on again because he'll be off his vacation. And it's always great when we have Father Miller on. Well, I can't believe that a priest comes on and actually rants on about Doctor Who.
It's brilliant. I love it. I love him and the Rabbi together.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just brilliant. The two of them are just excellent. Right, and with that, I'm going to go. I'm really going this time because the wife is going to kill me. Cutting into our time, so I better make it up to our big time. Right. Love yous all. Stay safe. See yous the weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which is not much. Which is a lot, actually, apparently, according to J-Bots. I haven't checked me Twitter yet, but I suppose it's exploded. I might just do it.
Leave it for the night. Go with Cheryl and come back to it tomorrow.
That's it. I'm just going to watch. Yeah, we're watching some it's people that were wrongly convicted of murders that they didn't do. And then new DNA technology comes out. But there's this bloke, this dental expert that they've been used on like 5 of these cases or something. And they showed video footage and he said they were bite marks. And it turns out they weren't. And now this fella is trying. I forget the name of it, but it's on Netflix. We've been looking at all these mad.
I don't want anything depressing. I'm just looking forward to the Umbrella Academy coming out.
I know. Friday. Yeah, I actually seen. Yeah, I might have to check that.
And we've finally got an air date for The Boys, which is September 4th.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. There is some good news actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also BBC Studios or BBC Press Office, I should say, have announced that some of the shows that they're responsible for are up and running with filming again. Now, will that mean Doctor Who is going to actually be going to film on time? Now, as we know, we already spoke about on this channel, and we were criticized by other YouTubers out there that were saying, don't be listening to YouTubers like No Zone and the newspapers because they don't know what they're talking about. But then those very same YouTubers a couple of days ago are actually then coming out with the exact same story because it comes out with a reliable newspaper source that they think is reliable. Right, but anyway, right, there is talks of this being delayed because of social distancing. Now, just because they've started up and filming BBC doesn't necessarily mean because BBC Wales produces Doctor Who. So it'll all depend on the Welsh government and what their social distancing rules are all about before any decisions are made on Doctor Who's filming. Do I think they'll be filming in September? Well, we're coming into August now, so it's literally 8 weeks away. I don't see it happening, to be honest. I don't think we're going to be filming in September, but we could get filming in early January, I reckon, is when we'll get the green light, which means Series 13 will be late in August, late in autumn, which means they'll probably... I've got a funny feeling, though, this is what he'll do. He'll do Moffat. He will show half of the episodes next year, and then the other half the year after. Stretch it out. And then she'll probably regenerate, but that'd make her, well, not on screen, but as the Doctor, I think that'll make her maybe the third most, is it? Or something like, I don't know. I don't really care. Do we really care?
I don't care.
No, nobody cares, right? We're going. Listen, enjoy his own.
Leave.
I'm going. Lee is already telling me to feck off. Wolf,
go on, Lee, get out. You too. Yeah.
Thanks for joining me again. It was really nice to have you on. And I'm glad I got to speak to you tonight, actually. It was really nice. And Charlotte, thank you as well for coming on. It was really nice chatting to you as well. And I'm sorry you girls got hit on there by this mad Scotsman. But, you know what they say. God loves a trier.
All right.
Right, and with that, I'll leave you with this, guys.